Welcome to December 16th. Had to look at the calendar again. It's been one of those months, I tell you. Welcome to December 16th and the December Dash on the 16th of December. For Ring Ads, I'm happy to be here. I'm William Mears, CEO and founder of Ring Ads. In case you didn't know, you're new tuning in. I know we have a bunch of new people. Welcome. Oh man, so much stuff to get into. Live streaming is one of those things like some people just don't do well with it. I mean, there's days where even if you do well with it or tend to do well with it, um, it can get frustrating. Things happen, and you have to do things spur of the moment, and sometimes, I mean, again, sometimes things go off just so well, and then sometimes, other days it's just like. You can't do anything right and you end up screaming inside or maybe even outside, something like this.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll,
No.
we'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Exactly. Right. Sometimes you just, have crazy things like that happen. Anyway, you'll never hear me really do anything like that. That's a little poke at some funny things that have happened in the past with people that just even broadcast anchors that just have problems like that. And everybody has their moments, right? So, not saying this is necessarily one of mine, but there's potential for it today. So, uh, strap in. Here we go. Okay, we're going to talk about a few different things today. Um, but before we get to those topics, I'd like to give a special shout out and congratulations to everybody who has participated so far in the December Dash. Whether you've got clients or not, doesn't matter. You keep doing what you're doing, you will get clients. There's no doubt in my mind. And one person in particular had a really great day yesterday. Hopefully, he'll come on to the Zoom Live and today and talk to us and share with us a little bit about his journey thus far, because I know he's had some dramatic twists and turns from the start, and to see where he's at now, everybody's cheering him on, which is just awesome. And I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, he had at least three clients, maybe four, come in yesterday in one day, which is he's operating at his peak with that. So there's no doubt about that, and I'd love to have him come on and share that. Of course, if you don't know who I'm talking about Art, Art Tapman. He actually points wise updates as of the beginning of this call. He got the second level, the second award, if you will, for the Got There First. So the Got There First award for 10 clients. Art is now has now claimed that as his own. So he's got the 5 clients and the 10 clients. He's got 1,200 points total, 11 client counts. The client count is 11 for him. John Hackwood still has 50 points with 1 client. Jerry Clark still has 60 points with 2 clients. Okay. Um, Still a ton of room. Um, I mean, if you need proof of that, it's like, oh man, Art's doing so well. Yes, he is. If you don't think for some reason that you can't catch Art, you're out of your mind. And here's why. Art alone himself closed either 3 or 4 clients. We'll get to the bottom of this if he comes onto the Zoom today. But 3 or 4 clients in one day, how many days like that do you need to catch him, right? And that means he also has to keep up a pace. If you're at that pace or get to that pace very quickly, and you can, he's going to have to maintain a certain pace to just to stay ahead, to stay in the running even. So don't let the numbers fool you. It's still halfway through the month, right? And the most interesting times and highest conversion times of the month are coming. They have yet to come, right? They're still in the wind, in the ether. They don't exist yet, but they're about to, right, over the next couple of weeks. So it's going to get interesting, folks. Get in there. Good job to Art, of course. Always a special shout out to the people that produce and do well. Whether you produce clients or not initially is not of as great concern to me as whether you're following the training, you're being consistent in it, and you reach out to support. Those are the 3 simple rules to massive success. They make a huge difference. Okay. Okay. That said, I'm gonna have to click
Art's
on
doing
this real
so well.
quick, mute that, enlarge it.
And
This
if
is
you
so I
can't
can see
catch
the
Art,
comments.
then you reach out to.
There we go. Okay. Everybody's saying hello and where they're tuning in from. Awesome. So we got Adrian on, Muhammad's here, Art's here. Okay, cool. Art's here. Um, Muhammad, I already said Muhammad. Quessy is here. Scott, of course. David is back from Houston. That was a great conversation we had yesterday. Adrian is here, always from Jamaica. Um, he's been tuning in pretty crazy every day. Been happy to see him around more. Andy is here as well. Awesome. Good to see you guys. John Smith. Um, man, everybody's here today. Okay, we're all here and then some. So today's topic, now that we've got through the special shout outs and everything, today's topic is about protecting your vision um, and the why and the how of that. So what I mean by that is you have to have a vision that first off is bigger than what you think it might need to be initially. Most people, and this is where we start talking about how most people think versus how um, the elite think, and I don't mean elitist as in what most people think elite, but how the wealthy people think, how the actually, you know what Steve Siebold says it best, how the world class think, right? The world class athletes and professionals, and if you need this is a book plug, if you need more of that kind of stuff, I have no problem covering this kind of stuff at all. But Steve has done such a bang up job of it in his book, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. This book right here is world class. He spent, um, I think he's a former tennis coach, if I'm not mistaken. I actually met him in person. Great guy. And he was a former tennis coach, and he devoted himself to studying the world class and what makes them different from in how they think from how everybody else thinks. And this thing is just, it's not just packed. Like I want to show you an example. Again, I'm not trying to sell the book here, but it's so important that I actually put my name on the, there you go. I put my name on the, what do you call it? Not the spine, but the other side, the opposite side of the spine. I did that because anything that's important to me, I always mark it or mark it as my own with the last name Mears. And I'll tell you, this book has uh, not just quotes, but like and stories, but concepts, and then how to actually use those concepts. So it's not just a hey, here's something to make you feel good and think about for the day. It's a hey, here's something that will change everything about how you do it, but you need to implement it. Here's how you implement it. And here's the studies or here's the reasoning behind this and why it's so impactful to your life, not just your business. But listen to this one. This is a great. I just happened to flip to this. No shit, you saw me flipping through the book. Uh, on page 131, the great ones are problem solvers. How many times have you heard me talk about problem solvers and that we are problem solvers? Matter of fact, I might even make that a special mindset topic because I've got some really good analogies for problem solvers. So as problem solvers, and I'm not reading from the book at this point, I just happen to see this. I will read this. We teach collaborative problem solving in school. It's called cheating. And that's from the director of education at Motorola at that time, Edward Bales. And then see action step for the day. Ask this critical thinking question. Am I willing to solve larger, more complex problems in exchange for increased compensation? If the answer is yes, go to your boss today or to yourself, right? And ask for more responsibility. There's never a lack of money in any organization for a person who can solve major problems. Did you hear that? There's never a lack of money. Never a lack of money for people that are willing to solve the major problems, right? The next time you are daydreaming about making more money, stop daydreaming. That's a big one. And ask for a bigger problem to solve. Instead of asking, obviously, I teach you guys, this is a great book, by the way. Very, very great book. You can find this on Amazon. Actually, you know what? If you work your ass off for the December Dash, this is one of the 11 books in the founders library that I'm going to be giving away to like best new performance, the Komoot Award. This book right here. Um, Man, what a great book. Anyway, about the problem solvers, I always say, and I'll go through this really quickly because this is not actually the topic. We got to get back to protecting your vision. But you'll see why I'm going down this road in a second. I'll bring it home. The problem solving, what I always like to say about that is you the objective of the game, and the game meaning of life, even not just business, but everything you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, and even while you're sleeping, the objective of the game uh, is to solve problems. And the bigger problems you solve, as you heard from Steve, the bigger reward that you get for that big problem that's solved. The more problems, here's where I feel like I won't say he didn't go into enough detail or anything, but I always elaborate even further, which is the more problems you solve, the more money you make. So our end goal is actually to solve bigger problems more often because that's bigger money more often, right? If that makes sense. So professional problem solving, become a professional problem solver. That's my whole thing on that. I'll go into more depth on that on another topic for another day. That's for another time. Here's how I bring it home. So I shared that with you because the world class tend to think differently, or the elite, or the top of their game, whatever you want to call them. You want to become one of those, or you want to be one of those people, you need to act the part. You need to act accordingly before you hit that. That's how you hit it. You don't get there and then start acting that way. You have to act as if, not fake it till you make it. Act as if. So, for example, you don't you don't get called out for being chivalrous, holding a door for someone, or you don't get the label of being called chivalrous, for example, without doing things that beforehand that show that you are chivalrous, like holding a door, opening a door for a lady, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no thank you, please, right? All these things. Um, they come before someone says, man, that person is just very well mannered, right? Okay. Um, what I need you to understand is protecting your vision, right? Protecting your vision. Most of the people out there do not, and this is where we bring it home. Told you it was coming. Most of the people out there, their vision is, I just got to get out of this 9 to 5. I just got to get out of this 9 to 5. Their vision is, I just need to be able to get out of this 9 to 5 and take care of my family, or provide more for my family, right? I got kids that are about to go to college, or, and I'm sweating bullets, whatever it is on your mind, right? That you have, I can almost guarantee you it's not big enough. It's not an actual vision. It's more of almost like a plea for help, as opposed to a vision, which a vision is very strong, very, very strong. It's much larger than life. And you need to start thinking in those terms of larger than life. And I know we're talking about building a pay-per-call agency here, but again, business owner's mindset, right? Agency owner's mindset. That's what it comes down to. So what's your vision? That's my question to you. And how to protect it, more importantly, I'll give you an example. So you don't just share your vision with everybody. If you do, if it's that big, I guarantee you're going to have people that poo-poo it. In other words, that's my way of saying people that are going to take a shit on it, or people that are just not going to be supportive of that. Even people that are very close to you, like not distant relatives, but immediate family, spouses, friends, best friends, people you've known all your life, even some mentors who aren't there at that level, right? That you could be learning from, may not fully grasp or appreciate your desire for that greater vision, that larger than life vision. Um, and there's a lot to that, but the idea is you need something larger than life, something larger than yourself to fight for. Now, I have a very, very strong vision. I don't share it, and it's not because I'm being selfish with it. It's because I'm protecting it. So picture if you will, picture with me, if you will, uh, you're out in the woods and it's raining, it's cold, it's damp, and you just get that little flame going to start a fire so that you can survive, right, from hypothermia, and survive the night. And so you've got this flame, and of course you're protecting it as much as possible. It just created from the tinder, right? If you've ever seen a fire start. Anyway, once you've got that, you've got to protect it, right? You don't necessarily share that with everybody yet. It's not a big enough flame yet to warm the whole the whole crew that's with you on your camping expedition or whatever, right? And the goal is ultimately to build it into a bonfire that warms anyone and everyone, cooks the food, everything, right, for the whole night. So you protect it, you build it, obviously you work on the flame, and then you can't just throw a bunch of logs on it and bury it. Can't do that. It'll snuff the fire out if you put too much wood on it too fast. So you start out with the twigs from the tinder, and then you get into sticks, and then you stack them in such a way, right? There's a million different ways to start a fire, but that's a really great way to start one up very quickly, especially in the elements. Um, and then you can, when the fire is burned down and created what we call like a coal of sorts at the bottom that's going to just stay red hot, that's when we can start throwing logs on, and that's when the logs catch fire. When the logs catch fire, whoosh, and then everybody comes to the fire, right? Then it's time to share the vision, right? Then it's time. So there will be a time, a day, a place, and a time for you to share that vision, but it's not today. It's not today. Not even to your closest. Not even to your closest. And again, it's not a selfish thing. It's not a, well, keep in mind, your vision should be larger than life. So if it's for you and your family and taking care of you and your own or your friends, then yeah, that's very selfish. But if it's a larger than life, like how do I make a difference? How do maybe I want to build schools in Africa. Maybe I want to focus on the drinking water problem. You know, there's a ton of people in the world that still to this day don't have clean drinking water. 1 in 6 children in the United States, just in the United States, do not have what do they call it? Uh, they don't know where their next meal's coming from. They call it something. There's a catchphrase for it, which is really shitty. That it's such a problem and has been such a problem for so long that 1 in 6 children tonight in the U.S. do not know where their next meal is coming from. Insecurity, meal insecurity, something like that. Anyway, whatever it is, um, that's a problem, and it's not a you thing. It's not a now. Let me frame this for you. If you get to the point in your business, if that's your vision, for example, um, you get to the point where you're able to put a dent in that, or hell, even solve the entire problem, right? Of the 1 in 6 children. You may not be able to fix and help all the starving children of the world, but you can get the 1 in 6 in the United States fed, right? If you can do that or put a serious dent in that and have other people join you to continue putting a bigger dent into that, you have now, there's no way at that point that you don't have enough money for your family. You blew right past what the small mind thinks of, right? Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal that thinks so small that you just it's real. It creates a lot of problems, folks. It creates a lot of problems. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you should have such lofty goals like I just described, but they need to be larger than life. They need to be larger than your life specifically. The things that you see and hear. It needs to be. You need to be able to use your imagination to come up with a vision that's large enough to and actually achieve it. This is one of the reasons why I love teaching what I teach and who I teach, because those people that get to those points are able to not just be that guy that gives money to charity and doesn't know where it goes, because most of it doesn't go to the people that need it, by the way, but they actually affect change in the world. They are the change they want to see, if that makes sense. And everybody has different causes. For me, there's several. So my vision is rather large. And again, I protect it from everyone and everything right now because it's not time for that flame to be still where everybody can come in and warm themselves from that fire. Not yet, right? But you look at any extremely wealthy person, and usually they have a vision or they develop one as they go, or at a certain point in their career, if they just magically hit it big, which they didn't magically hit it big. You get the point. Protecting your vision is super important. That's the why. So that way nobody is able to poo-poo it because they don't even know it. You're going to have to be able to keep a good secret to yourself, keep it to yourself, um, and use that as the fire inside within to get up every day and do what you do, right? I don't get up every day to feed my family. I don't get up every day to make sure my mom goes without, doesn't go without, right? I get up every day for my vision. And by default, mom stays good. right? Family stays good. Everybody stays good. My dog stays good, right? Um, I think much bigger, and you should as well. In fact, hold on. Got a book for that too. Where is it? Hold on. I thought I did. Don't I? Don't I have that book, Think Big? I thought I had Think Big. I do somewhere. I just can't find it. It's a smaller book too, which is kind of funny. I'm looking. I don't see it, but Think Big is a good book. Think Big will help you think bigger for sure. So take that for what it's worth. 20 minutes in, let me grab the link to the Zoom. And let's see. Come over to the comments here. I'm going to paste that in so you can join. Feel free to join the conversation live inside of the Zoom, or if you'd like to ask your questions via the comment section, please do that as well, okay? If you don't feel like coming on live, that's fine. If you want to ask your questions live, no problem. I'm here for you for that. It could be anything about the business, right? Whether it's anything to do with campaigns. If we need to screen share, let's screen share. Whatever it is we got to do to get you moving, let's get you moving. Client acquisition, questions about the sales script, whatever, right? Whatever it is, I'm here to help you with that. Or if you are a little bit too shy, don't want to come into the Zoom, no problem. Just ask away in the comments. Let me see it, and I'll take it from there. Okay. Wow, a lot of good comments here. Hold on. Let me scroll down and see if I can see what's going on here. Adrian says, I think I've missed a bit of one of the sessions where you talk about attrition. Do you remember which live stream that was? Attrition. Are you talking about client retention attrition, or are you talking about? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure which topic of attrition. That's a little bit vague, Adrian. Can you clarify for me? Rob says you're 100% right. I used to think it was better to cheap out on things. I paid for that mentality this morning because my long distance coverage sucks on my $20 cell phone plan. So I'm at the store switching to Verizon right now. This penny pinching mindset cost me 3 hours of prospecting, but I still got a few good calls in before the calls started dropping. We'll try to get on Zoom when I get home. Oh, well, first off, Rob, don't beat yourself up too bad, right? I can hear the acknowledgement. First off, good on you, man. I hear your acknowledgement. This is why I love this stuff, because I can look at your post and go, yeah, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. I get it. But I look at that comment and I go, okay, he knows that. He owns it. He's fixing it. Yes, it costs him money. He's not beating himself up, and he knows what he's going to do when he gets home. He's chomping at the bit to do it, and he's committed to the process, and making sure that root of the problem is fixed and doesn't happen again. Good on you, Rob. Shit, man. Can't do it any better than that. I see Max trying to come in the Zoom. Mac, I'm going to go through some of these comments here because we got a ton of them. Oh, Mac just bounced out of the room. Okay. If he comes back in, there he is. There he is. There he is. Okay. So Mac, I'm going to keep you muted. Okay. And I'm going to answer a few of the comments here because we got a ton of them, and then I'll switch over to you and we'll talk. So good on you, Rob. Good on you. Art says power went out about 4 hours ago and the generator doesn't have fuel. House staff overlooked it. Rutro. Rorge. And nearby gas stations are not open at this time. Cell phone is low bat. It's more fun in the Philippines. We'll make sure to get gas later today. Yeah, and see, there's learning lessons, right? There's a ton of learning lessons there. Just make sure that you know what they are and make sure the roots are fixed, right? Andy says, you're right as always. I shared my vision too many times only for others to try and smash it down every time. I mean, there are people out there, they're few and far between that you can share your vision with and get encouragement on at the right time. But I'll tell you, it's better to err on the side of caution. I'm not one to smash other people's visions or dreams, even if they sound completely outlandish. In fact, my first thought nowadays goes immediately to, well, is there anything I can do to help this person, especially if I care about them? Is there anything I can do to help this person achieve that or get there faster or contribute to simplifying that so that they hit that faster, or things like that, right? Leverage. I'm always, how do I leverage that for you, right? Um, and so I come from a place of obviously not just open-mindedness, but from a place of help, right, or assistance. Most people don't though, so you don't want to take chances on that. That's not something. I mean, your vision, if it's that big and that strong, you don't want to take those kind of chances with your vision, right? So, oh, Mac says I'm good. Just switching to Zoom. Okay, so you just wanted to come in on Zoom. Okay, so Mac is not going to be asking questions, I guess, on the Zoom. That's cool. Um, let's see. Mohammed says, great analogy. I was taken to a forest lighting a fire. Yeah, Art says you need to find your why. See, that's what all the other gurus say, right? Nothing against them or anything, but they always say find a why. You got to have a why. It's got to be a good why, but they never explain the why. They never dive deep into what a good why looks like. And I gave you some really good examples, things that are near and dear to your heart. Um, I can give you some hints. I'm not going to tell you my vision, but I will give you some hints on things that are near and dear to me that so that you can understand. Um, People that are going through renal failure, near and dear to my heart. People that were born with spina bifida, near and dear to my heart. People that are amputees, veterans, especially war wounded veterans, and not just like wounded, but PTSD. I would consider a war wound, even though you can't see it. You can see it, just not how you think. And veterans are near and dear to me, right? On many different levels, but definitely Wounded Warrior, right? And I know there's the Wounded Warrior Project. I get that. At the same time, there's things I want to do, right? Think the effect. I want to affect the change that I want to see, right? I'm going to be the change I want to see in that. Animals and rescue animals. Obviously, I take in rescue animals. Have all my life, pretty much, and well, all my adult life anyway. And uh, my dog right now, matter of fact, Jesse used to be my father's dog, and before he passed away, obviously he had rescued her from a shelter. So she came from a very bad situation, and I would say, based on how she acts around me, even after having her for a couple years now, um, she still very much needs a father figure of sorts, like an alpha for her to know the way and to feel safe. And it breaks my heart sometimes to think about it, but at the same time, I took her in, and she's a great dog. I Matter of fact, I was able to and enjoyed it very much so. Picking her up and driving her across the country because I couldn't fly her. She was down in Florida, and it was flight restrictions for animal travel is like if it's above 80 degrees, I think nowadays the airlines won't fly your pet. And it's like, well, shit, flying from Miami to Vegas is the window for that. Is there a window where it's not 80 degrees, and what's that going to look like? So I just said, fuck it. I'm going to fly out there, scatter my dad's ashes in Kentucky the way he wanted, drive down to Florida, in a rental. I rented a Suburban and drove cross country, man. Drove from Florida to fucking Vegas with one stop. I stopped in Houston overnight, and that was it. I was back on the road. And I had help, of course, though. I wasn't the only driver, but I drove most of the way. And I did that because I cared about her so much. I wanted to see her have a good life. And so far, so good. So far, so good. She's my baby doll. And but again, all animals. I wouldn't say I'm a Ace Ventura or anything, but I love all animals. Animals are great. Animals love me. I love animals. Um, I'm more of a dog person. I've had cats. Nothing against cats, but I do what I can. I can't take a million dogs, but I can take one or two and do my part, if you will, and affect change at least in a few different dogs' lives, right? And that makes a difference to me, at least on the very basic level, and then also uh, on greater levels, right? So again, I'm giving you hints on some of my vision, but I'm not telling you what my vision is. What else is near and dear to me? Children, my God, childhood and some of the things that go on between domestic violence, child abuse, children going hungry. Um, Again, that whole question mark on 1 in 6 children for the U.S. of going hungry every night or potentially going hungry. Um, that's a real problem for me mentally. It's one of the first things that came to my mind as an example. So yeah, it's a very big deal to me. Anyway, find your why, find your vision, find something you want to see change in the world, and go change it. Right? Use that as the fire as to why you get up every day. Right? Meal insecurity. Forrest Shaw says it. Perfect. I thought I had that right earlier. It took me a second to come up with it, but yeah, it's meal insecurity. Um, Man, it's just that's such a shitty thing, right? Let's fix that. I'm not saying we all got to be Mother Teresa or anything either. We should be so lucky, but but man, we need to start being the change, right? And I don't mean be out in the streets and rioting and shit. I'm talking about like the positive change that we want to see in the world. That's what we need to be doing. Anyway, personal opinion, but that's where I come out. Miro says, "Beautiful talk. It ain't just talk, man. Most people probably talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk, right? And that's kind of my point. You've got an agency model here that will not only get your feet firmly on the ground, again, far beyond anything you could ever want for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones and friends, or friends and loved ones. You can go well beyond that, and if you have that fire every day, I mean, if you haven't accomplished those goals, then you should have that fire based on that vision that you have. I say goals. If you haven't accomplished what you needed to for the day, that fire is going to keep you going a hell of a lot longer than anything else will. It's better than any energy drink I've ever had. I'll tell you right now. The thought of the fact that I might not achieve uh, some part of my vision if I'm thinking about one specific part of it, right? For example, the children. What about the kids, fool? Right? My mind goes to Mr. T all of a sudden. But my mind goes to one piece of my vision, and I go, shit, I don't care how I feel today. I need to be working. I need to be doing something because if I'm not, then I'm not moving towards being the change, right? And so that's more fire than a Red Bull. I've been extremely sick and done things that most people would have just like folded up shop, hours ago or days ago, and here I am, right? So it ain't just talk. You gotta be the change, right? You've heard that before, I'm sure. But it makes much more sense than find your why. Not that find your why is wrong or bad. It's just it's not accurate enough. It's not specific. There's no specificity at all. It's generic. Adrian's saying yes, client retention, attrition. I can't remember what session that was. Ask your questions on what you're about client retention, and I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Give me some specifics what you're looking for, Adrian, and I will be more than happy to help you with that. No problem at all. Muhammad says, is there a clear difference in terms of effectiveness between AM and PM times of calling, whether it's for market research or to acquire clients? Uh, PS, AM, PM times according to the local time zone of those called up. Okay, so yeah, because I get that you're out in Saudi Arabia, so the time zones are going to be much different. Um, Mac, I'm going to mute you because the I can hear myself in the background there. AM, PM on time zones. Here's what I'll tell you. Every vertical is different. I know you hear that a lot from me. At the same time, it's very true. So what I mean by that is uh, there are verticals that do better during, think business hours, 9 to 5 typically. However, there are verticals that do better before then and after then as well, like before 9 and after 5, which means early in the day, late in the day, right? Based on the vertical. So if it's blue collar, there's going to be a lot of early risers, um, and people that stay late. White collar, same thing, but not as much, and different schedules. And you're going to find some verticals where Saturdays are good, right? Because they're there and half the staff is there instead of the full staff. It's a lighter day, but the business owner's there, that kind of thing. But typical business hours, and on both sides of that early in the morning, market research, a lot of that comes down to finding out when most of those folks in the vertical you've decided to go with start their day. That's what I would look for first, and probably a Google search is to find out when is a good time to call. Sometimes it's just good to just start calling and just try different times of the day. And when you find more response in the morning at 8 a.m., then you start calling at 8 a.m. more, right? And that's going to help, right? And when you do get a hold of a couple, even if it is in the middle of the day, ask them that as one of the first questions. Hey, by the way, when do you guys usually start? Like, when do you normally start your day, right? And that'll help you get some perspective as well. So hopefully that makes sense on your time zone question. Miro's asking or saying, I'm done. I've done all my settings in the Ring Ads platform. Happy about it. We'll continue tomorrow with the rest. Good progress, man. Progress is the perfection. Good job. Keep going. Keep doing well with that. I see Art is in the waiting room. I just saw him pop in, so let him come in, tell us all about his generator woes. Adrian, okay, here's a clarification on the client retention. He says, okay, I'm just after a brief expectation of client retention percentages that you see typically in new agencies. I think you were talking about the difference between 70 and 80% and 50%, but I didn't hear it. Andy mentioned it when we were on the phone the other day in our support bubble, I guess you'd call it. Cool. So you and Andy, Adrian and Andy are cohorts. That's cool. I like seeing you guys collab like that. All right, good to see that. To clarify on client retention, the difference can be between 75, 80% down to 25%. So, and the differences are mostly client engagement. And the client engagement is going to be based on two main things, not the only two things, but the two main things that's going to drive that significant increase on how many clients you retain are going to be the weekly calls that you have with your clients, seriously, and having good conversations with them, talking points, if you will, making them 5-10 minute calls. That's all it takes. And the other main point is going to be the client engagement sequence, which is going to be either a 30, 60, or 90-day, think of it as an onboarding sequence, if you will, that they get emails from you, and you talk to them about those emails in your weekly calls. So they may get 2 emails from you over the course of a week, and then you do your weekly call, and you've got not only talking points of the calls and the business you're driving, but talking points about where to go next, and also the emails that they just read or should have read. And if they haven't, go back and read them, and we'll talk about them, because you need your clients to engage you in order. Sorry about the noise. I got this green drink I'm doing here. You need your clients to engage you at a level that keeps them engaged into your business, and fully aware of what it is that you're actually doing for them regularly. It's kind of like that whole "what have you done for me lately," right? Um, but what have you done for me lately? That whole thing. If you've ever heard the joke or somebody say that, it's true though. When it comes to client engagement, like, they deal with so much on a day-to-day basis that they may sometimes forget that they've got calls still coming in from you, even though they're getting them. Maybe they're not the ones answering the phone. They may have completely forgotten about you. But if you keep engaging them, continually engaging them, and not just engaging them, but engaging them with meaningful conversation that's productive, that gets them more business, better business, more phone calls that they're looking for, and keeps them enlightened and aware of the growth that you guys are having together, then they're considered engaged, right? And they're going to pay much more close attention to not just the results you're producing for them or with them, but also how you run the business that you run, right? How you run your agency, and how fast your support is, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot that goes into that, but the two main things, again, client engagement sequence and weekly calls. The client engagement sequence is an automated form of engagement for your clients, but you do need to engage with your clients manually via the phone. Good news is 5-10 minute calls. You're not trying to be there on the phone with them for an hour. Now, if they got the time to kill and you want to get some extra market research done or dive deeper on the mindset, by all means, right? Knock yourself out. Spend that time with that client. It's going to be time well spent, right? It's a very worthy investment of time for sure. So that would be the difference between, again, 25%, 75, 80%. And I've seen that. Um, I've seen those differences with someone that worked hard to pull in, 4 clients and lost three, right? And so 25% retention rate, and implemented what I just told you and is pulling in 75, 80% across the board. And in a lot of cases, as the business grows and numbers of clients, right, that are acquired, and those the engagement sequence is in place, and the engagement weekly phone calls, all that kind of stuff is in place, systems wise. I've seen client engagement go into the high 90s. Okay, I've seen it go there too. Just depends on how well you set that up and continue to run that and grow that. It's definitely a good focus point, no doubt. Um, okay, that's all I see on questions. I see Jason here. That's my one of my oldest friends, my best friend since middle school. He's here again, tuning in, spying on what I'm doing. I love it. Uh, Gotta love when you have good friends, man. You don't. You may not have many of them in your life, but man, the one when they're good, hold on to them, right? Hold on to them, and and take care of each other. Man, I'll tell you. Anyway, enough on that. I don't want to put him on the spot or embarrass him. I don't think he's easily embarrassed anyway. But we've got Art on. Mac is just kind of tuning in the background. No worries, Mac. Unless you unmuted to ask a question, if that's the case, go ahead and unmute real quick, and then I'll get to Art. But I want to make sure that Art has a chance to talk to us before his battery runs out, if he's having challenges. Mac is not unmuted. Okay, so Art, then what's going on, man? How can I help, or what do you want to update us on? You want to tell us about what's been going on lately?
Yes. Um, yeah, the 4 clients were sold closed yesterday. Um, 2 of them were follow-ups from the previous week that I
Two
goosed.
follow-ups. Nice,
And then 2 of them were like just single call close. Um,
nice.
so that was nice. Um,
4 clients
and I
yesterday.
used the
Is that your first 4 client
yeah,
day?
I think so. I know I've had 3. I don't think I've had 4. I think that I'm pretty sure that was the first.
Breaking records, man. Breaking personal
Yeah.
records every day. That's what it's about. Good job.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um, and actually, yeah. So stressing the urgency now more on the single close, and
Yep.
that's how I closed out. I'd have to review the recording, but I know that's how I definitely closed the one, because one doesn't want to start until like next year. Because I mean, at this point, I this week, if I sign them up now, like the chances of me driving calls to them
Right.
are pretty slim this week. So, and then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sure, but then the holiday, you're done. They're not like I haven't found any client that's will be open. They're like, nope, not doing it.
Right.
And then the last week, some of them are open. Others are like, no, it's whole. I'm done until next year.
Until the next
But
year. But they're going to be around. They're going to be on the phone. And if they're done till next year, what does that tell you?
they're not quite. I guess they're comfortable in their business. They're not starving.
No, nobody's
No.
comfortable. Nobody's comfortable. 100%. What are they?
Okay.
Okay, think as if you're a broken business owner, like your back has been broken this year. 2020 has been an absolute shit year economically for a lot of people. So if you had
Mm.
that mindset for just a brief second, not saying you embrace that, but I'm saying put yourself in their shoes for just a split second, right? And envision that, feel that for a second. What are you ready for right now? Middle of December, what are you looking forward to? This is
Oh,
most
just
people.
just that vacation
Vacation, okay. Maybe not. What I
or a
mean,
rest. Not a vac.
a
I'm sure it's not a
rest,
vacation.
not even a rest. What do you? I mean, 2020 has been, again, I'm going to give you the hint. 2020 has been an extremely shit year for a lot of people. At least that's
Mhm.
their view, right? I don't agree with that,
True.
but at the same time, that's how most people feel. So if they're ready for 2020 to be over, what are they looking forward to? What are they thinking about?
They're looking forward to next year.
Next year,
Maybe
2020. So the answer
regrouping
is
this.
2021. The answer is 2021,
Okay.
which means it's middle of December. So what are most people willing to do? Are they willing to stick it out and gut it out and do the hard thing, or are they willing? Are they more willing to do fuck it and just wait till the new year?
Oh, they want to properly prepare for next year. Like
No,
they want to hit the ground running.
you're couldn't be more wrong. um, most
Okay.
people, listen, man. Most people, even if they run a business right now, are so frustrated and so upset and so in so much uncertainty that I guarantee you,
Hmm.
it's not just your vertical either. By the way, this is how most people wake up today, right now. They're ready. They're ready for 2021. They're ready to forget the year. But the problem is there's still 2 weeks and change left in the year.
Mm.
So what are they willing to do? Check out. They're willing to just check out mentally. You follow?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay. And you've got holidays that just happen to, on this year, of all years, coincide with weekends and making them extra long weekends. And so what that does is people have a tendency already, even when things are good, to turn a holiday into a hollow week and a hollow month, right? That's it's not even a joke. It's a real deal. Like, um, so a holiday turns into a hollow week, turns into a hollow month, and now you can see very clearly how that would happen. Uh, Forget about 2020 for a second and how most people have been hit, right? And how that makes them feel. Just looking at that, the last 2 weeks for their business, if they're just not really feeling it, or maybe they are, but they just they want that break or they want that rest, then they're just going to cash out till mentally till the first of the year and start up again, right? Um, I'll tell you right now, you add the 2020 stuff in, and most everybody's not only ready for the year to be over, they're counting the days, and they just mentally checked out. They're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go watch. Calls aren't going to come in as much anyway. They've basically just resigned. They've given up. Um, and I'm not saying that that's a good or a bad thing. I'm saying if people have given up and they're looking forward or planning first of the year to go back, get another, take back up and take another run at it, or what we call back up and punt, right? We take another kick at it um, on the first of the year. Then between now and the first of the year, what are they doing with their time?
Um,
Try not to overthink it, Art.
okay.
What would you do with your time? If you no longer had shit to do in your business, what would you do with your time? What's your favorite shows? What I mean, do you have, are there people you don't see and talk to as much as you'd like? You get where I'm going with this? What would you do with your
Okay. Yeah.
time?
Yeah. I spend time with the family, regroup, just breathe, and
You say breathe, but I mean,
I
come
don't
on,
know.
man. Okay. Do I really have to get personal with you? Like, let me share some things with you. Uh, my favorite shows like Succession, rewatching Sopranos, right? I don't care that I've seen the entire set, Boardwalk Empire. I don't care that I've seen it 3 or 4 times through, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times I play it in the background nowadays, but there's there's things that I could do with my time that are a complete waste or like zone out or veg out, right? And I'm not saying for you to tell me what yours are because I don't want to go there. My point is, what are other people doing with their time, right? These people you're after, what are they doing with their time, right?
Mhm.
Now, put yourself in their shoes, and if you're a business owner in that industry or in that vertical, what are you doing with your time?
Well, so what I'm hearing right now from them is they are super busy this month, most of them, because everyone's preparing for the holidays. So they're fine with like next year. They're wanting me to start filling up their pipeline, but like right now, most of them are pretty busy with people preparing for the holidays because everyone needs a super clean house because of the pandemic.
Right.
No
So
one
what are
wants
they doing?
bugs, nothing.
What are they doing? What are the business owners doing with their time? I'm saying in your industry, what are they doing with their time? If they've already resigned, we've established that they've already resigned to wait till the first of the year to make things happen, right? What are they doing with their time?
Enjoy.
It's
I
okay.
enjoy.
I'd rather hear something than nothing. Give me
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because I know most of them are busy up until the holidays, and then they're really wanting to take an extended like week or two, like connect them.
But what are they
Just
going to
to
do? What are they doing with their time? That's the
yeah.
question.
Family, friends, just
Have you
escape.
asked?
Just
Have you asked any of them?
I've asked one or two, and they've told me that they're just gonna spend time with the family. I mean, you can't really go holiday, so it's gonna be more home,
Right.
but they barbecue, like just
Okay.
forget the rest of the year, like just
Exactly.
quality time with family.
Okay. Okay. Good. So now we've got somewhere. That's what I wanted to hear. Now, uh, someone that says here's where you got to kind of not read between the lines, but kind of. This is what you need to understand about market research because you've done it. Now you know your market well enough to, and you're friendly enough with some of these guys to ask them these questions. And they just said to you that they're going to just sit around, spend time with the family, can't go out. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Right? Key. Okay. So I'm just going to stay home and, you know, maybe do some things to prep for the beginning of the year. That's what I'm looking at. So, what should your conversations be between today and January? Really, shit, third, fourth, fifth.
My conversations have been
No, not what are they? What should they be from here, from today on to into January? What should they be about? What should be the focus point? Should it be about getting calls in today?
oh no,
No.
um,
What's it going to be
yeah,
about?
no, my focus right now is to really hit the new year strong, because with we could get things in the pipeline. If we can get started now, get it locked in, I can start my magic. So come the fourth, we got we're ready to rock and roll. That's why I'm pushing it now instead of oh just call me at the beginning of the year. I'm ready to do it. So it's like well let's
Exactly.
do it now.
First off, I have calls
And
coming in right now that you could field up until you actually take vacation. Let me know what your dates
right.
are. I'll mark them down. No calls, no problem during those times or during that
Hmm.
time. And I'll even help you prep a little bit if you want. Let's spend some time on the phone. I'll help you prep for January for these calls that are going to be coming back in. And
Hmm.
we ain't got to spend hours on the phone, but a couple minutes here and there is going to go a long way for sure. And we'll get you not I want to rock and roll. I want to get things set up. What I did not hear you say, Art, and this is key, we're going to get you rocking and rolling. We're going to get you set up. We're going to get you back to normal, back to business as usual, and then some, right? You. What we're going to do for you, right? I don't care as much about what your reasoning is as to why you're calling me as much as I do about what you're going to be able to do for me today, tomorrow, and next month. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's
And
got to
okay.
be the focus. And so it's not that it's not your focus. My point is the language you're using is maybe not as pointed as it could be. And you're hearing now that you're starting to hear from your market, okay, fuck it, this year sucks. I'm out. I'll see y'all next year. You know what I mean? Um, or I'm running up until the 23rd and then fuck it, I'm out. See y'all next year. That doesn't mean that they're done. And it also means that they're going to be around the phone. They're going to get bored. I promise you. Some of the best sales days I've ever had in my life. And not just over the phone. I'm talking sales days for information products, for e-com, everything have been while holidays are going on like Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, where people are actually sick of their family. I'm sorry to say, it's sad to say, but it's true. Or maybe they need a break, or maybe their mind can't turn off, right? Because we spend how much of the year with our mind turned on business wise as business owners, right? We're talking about business owners here. They think a lot like we do in a lot of ways, right? Maybe more towards the negative on some things if they're local and been hit hard this year, but very much entrepreneurial. And so their mind always goes to this, what's next year going to look like? Oh, fuck, I can't turn my mind off just because it's Christmas Day magically. You know what I'm saying? Because I spend the other 364 days of the year thinking about this shit. I can at least spend 2 hours thinking about it. Maybe I had, the morning off or a fresh head or whatever. You get the point. And so they're available mentally, even though they say they're checking out or giving up, not necessarily giving up, but you know what I'm saying, putting shit on pause for a couple weeks until the new year, which gives you an opportunity of them actually not doing the business and feeling what that feels like and how much it actually sucks. And you come in with exactly what you're going to do for them and what that's going to look like. And yes, the reasons are we start now so that January it's you're not only set and running, you're you and I've had a couple conversations, and you're really running. That is that's going to be the best way forward on most of your sales calls between now and January, really, January 4th, which I think is like a Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, all the way through that whole weekend, even on New Year's Day. I mean, that's not going to count for the December dash, but I don't think you really care at this point. Uh, you've got clients, you're doing well in the dash, and you also know that it's not just about December dash; it's also January. So um, that kind of shift and in your language, you've got the right ideas, Art. I'm not dogging you at all. You've got the right ideas. You understand the market well enough. You're hearing the right things. You've got the pulse, in other words, of these people, right? You've got to be able to spit back to them exactly what they were thinking. Because when you're going to hear shit like this when you do your pitch. At this point, from here on, you're going to hear that's exactly what I was looking for. It's exactly what I was thinking. Where have you been, this year? 2020 was such a shit year. Why didn't you show up in fucking, March? Those are the comments and feedback you're going to get. When you hear that, you're going to know you're 100% in alignment with where you're. And by the way, this shifts. This is like, the great deserts of the world. So like the Sahara Desert, for example, the sand dunes don't stay stagnant, right? They have sand tables that show like where dunes are, and the next day or over the next couple days they shift, they move because of the wind, right? However, the desert is still pretty much the desert, even though the sand shifts around. It's still very much the same place, geographically speaking, right? Um, so yes, your market or your vertical is still very much the same, group of people, the same more or less. But the sands can shift, and so when times are good, they think differently. When times are bad, they think differently. When it's holidays that are set up to where it's at the end of the week, twice in a row like that, at the end of the month, at the end of a shitty year, at least in their mind, right? This is where their head's at. Whereas if it was, let me tell you something, man. If this was and this is how you need to put, why I say you need to put yourself in their shoes. And this is, again, not just for you, Art, for everybody else. If this was a banner year, what if this was, let's walk 2020 back a little bit and say, man, what if things were like, you know, um, everything had gone right this year instead of wrong, right? So much opportunity in the wrong. But let's say everything went right and everybody's happy as hell, right? Hog heaven. What do you think would be going through your prospect's mind right now, Art? If you just had a record year, what would be going through their mind?
I would think they would be the urgency for them for next year's business wouldn't be as high.
Not as high. Would it still be there?
I mean, I would hope as a business owner, yeah, you're looking forward, you're looking ahead, but I'm sure right now they're really looking ahead more
Yeah,
to
I
fill
would
it.
agree. There's definitely going to be an increase in that, but I would also say that because December is typically a slow month, they also know that in this vertical that there's a slowdown over the next couple of months. They're also looking at anything they can do to grow in these months to prepare for what's to come in a few months, right? That whole thing, the same kind of stuff I've been talking to you about, right? Like, hey, if we do this and this and this, then and by this in this time frame, then what that means is you're ready for the season in this much growth, right? In your business, like in your agency, not just your clients, but so they're thinking the same kind of thing, just on a different level, right? How many
Yeah.
trucks can I get if they're having a good year? Oh man, I was thinking about getting a truck, but I didn't know if I'd have enough calls. And here's this guy talking about phone calls. Perfect. Now I can go and get that
Actually,
truck. Does that make sense?
it does make sense.
Okay.
And actually,
So
I,
there
I
is
have
urgency.
incorporated that a lot.
Good, good. Okay, so you get my
Um,
point though. Even with a banner year,
yeah.
I've had conversations with people in the past where one of the biggest lines I ever used, and I say lines, it's not like a pickup line, but it's more of a reflection back to whomever it is I'm speaking to. Um, oh well, I'm a speaker coach and I make $250,000 a year, or I've made $250,000 a year for the last 10 years, and I say that's great. Congratulations. I mean, $250,000 a year, that's not nothing. That's more than you're in the top 1% for sure of earners in the entire world. Um, but we're on the phone for a reason, and it's not because you make $250,000. It's because you want to make more than that. Am I correct in saying that?
Hmm.
I mean, because if I'm not, then why the fuck are we on the phone, basically, right? And I'm not saying at that point, but that's what I am saying. I don't throw your resume at me, right? I'm happy that you made $250,000 a year. Some people came at me with 1 million. I'm like, well, I thought we were on the phone call to talk to you about how to get to 2 million. 1 million's
Hmm.
great. Good job, dude. Like, are you ready to go to two? Or I mean, what are we doing here? Like, what? And it's a very different conversation you have after that, because then you get to see where their head's at. Are they in that growth mode? And so, like I said, the sands shift over times, where sometimes your market, not the entire market, but a lot of your market, for example, in an up year is going to be in a growth mode or mentality. How can I add more techs? How can I put more trucks on the road? How can I get more clients on a monthly service, et cetera, right? What products can I add to my lineup? All that kind of stuff. Um, how can I cut costs on this um, new product or whatever, you get it, or service? The That's growth mode thinking, right? Totally different pitch, very similar but different in terms of how it's kind of like when you're on a ship and you go across the ocean, 1 degree off, 1 degree across the Atlantic. Do you know where you end up if you're aiming for like New York?
One, I would imagine you're lucky if you even hit the States.
Like you'll hit the Caribbean or some shit, or Florida. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like you might even
exactly.
miss it exactly. So 1 degree, right? So we're not talking huge shifts in terms of it's all the same business, right? It's all the same business. It's just you're going to end up in two totally different places at the end of those paths of thinking, or ways of thinking. And right now we're just on the path of fuck this year. And I'm not saying for us and how we think by any means, okay? But I am asking you to step in. You know how I do. Uh,
Hmm.
take a second, take your shoes off, put yourself into their shoes for just a brief second. And I say a second, a minute, 60 seconds. Feel what they're feeling so that you know how to uh, come at them, right? So that you come at them with what they have been looking for, what they need to hear from you. And the thing is, at the end of the day, it's still the phone calls, it's still everything the same. It's just, and it's not even packaged differently. It's just explained to someone who, I'll give you an example. If you're bleeding out from the neck and you're trying to hitch a ride, you're not going to ask the same way for a ride as if you hadn't a care in the world. You follow?
Hmm.
Like if you were bleeding out from the neck, you'd probably like run out into the middle of the traffic and be like, "Stop the fucking car!" Like, "Stop the car!" Right? This would be you right here. This is you. Whereas if you hadn't a care in the world, you'd be like on the side of the road, right? You just throw the thumb out, and if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, well, you still moving, you're still walking. Um, Not really a. There's a big difference. At the same time, are you still moving? Are you still heading down the road? Yes. Heading towards your destination? Yes. One is faster than the other. One has more urgency. Yes, I guess is the point there. But more than just the urgency, just different ways of thinking about the same thing, right? Which in our case is phone calls. That's what we're selling. And then how do we not just sell those phone calls, but how do we communicate effectively to people with where they're at currently? Because right now, most people are like, fuck this year, I'm out. I'm going to do some things, gear up for the first of the year, get another back up and punt, take another run at it, whatever they say, or thinking along those lines. And what's the family into right now? But I promise you, half a day of that, and they're gonna get fucking bored, and they're gonna be like, "Thank God Art called." You think I mean, you're laughing, and I'm not joking, right? I know you know that, but if you need proof of that, look at how many people that I've helped over the years are, right? Do you know
Mhm.
how many times have you seen that? And you know it, a lot of it's unsolicited. People will tell me in the group, actually, you're one of them. You've you haven't said thank God William came along, but you have pretty much said that without saying it in a lot of your posts, and I appreciate that, by the way. So thank you. But it's only fair to note that when someone comes along and really makes a difference in your business, right, and helps you out, you tend to be grateful for that, and most people, right? Uh, Good people like you, right? And that's who you're after as clients anyway. People that are going to do right by you and all that. But they're going to say that, and it's not a joke. They may not say it tomorrow, but mid-January, February, when they're getting calls and everybody else is like, "Fuck, man, I'm not getting any calls," and they got a buddy that's 3 counties over or whatever, that they keep tabs on or keep in touch with or whatever, or do some cross work and all that kind of stuff, and they ain't got any business, but they do. Your clients do. They're going to be grateful. They're going to be like, "Man, if it hadn't have been for Art, I don't even know if I'd be in business today." When you get those kinds of conversations with or have those kinds of conversations with your clients, you're going to feel like I do in a lot of ways for you guys, with you guys. It's there's nothing like that feeling in the world. Seriously, it's a lot of the reason why I still do what I do at the level that I still do what I do for you guys specifically, because of not because of how many clients you got, Art. That's fantastic, by the way. And I think you've only just begun, and I think you think that too. You know that too. But put all that aside for a second. Just with what you've been able to do on the entire business, right? Uh, fires me up. Fires me up 100%. And I know everybody else is fired up about it too. They've taken notice. They know Art's a player. you know, it's good, man. It's really good all around. But I just want to make sure you've kind of you see the shift in the pitch. It's not like you're going to change a ton of what you're saying in the script, but how you convey the urgency is going to be a little bit different, obviously, and things like that. And some of the language you use is going to need to be more pointed towards the mode that they're in. Like when you call them up, it's almost like you'll hear them sit up, like they're probably lounging. You'll hear them sit up and actually pay attention because you just called them out, almost like you have a camera on them, and they're like, "Holy shit, is this guy looking at me right now across the street or what?" Like, because that's how well you're going to know what's going on in their head after this conversation and what I just described of how they've mentally checked out, right? You can even say something like that and get away with it, and you won't get a lot of well, that's not true. You'll get, yeah, I checked out a fucking week ago. You know what I mean? Or yeah, I just decided this year this and that, and you'll get admissions, not of guilt, but of just the decision they made as a business owner. Yeah, I decided to make it a light month this year anyway. I figured I'd go ahead and close it on out. But I'm thinking first of the year, just like you said, that I mean, I'm telling you, they're going to pay attention to that because you're very much in tune with what they're thinking, 100%. So hope that
Yeah. With that,
yeah,
so yeah, so start of this week, 'cause I've been calling and talking to many, or not many, but yeah, so that has been more of the focus. I'm getting a lot. Most of my new clients are solo or very or small clients, and they're consistent right now. Right now, they have consistent work, but they are definitely looking to expand.
good.
Like the one guy I closed yesterday, he's um, he's full time. He has a part timer. He has another truck. The guy's part time, and so then I was like, we can make him full time. We can get a couple other trucks as well. And hold on. And So, I mean, I'm definitely not mirroring them, but yeah, like, hey, I can help you grow. And I've used your line or similar, like what you've mentioned before, that you have like your finger on all these calls potentially, and you can easily,
Yeah, I'm
you
laughing
know what I
because
mean?
yeah, I always do the finger thing when I say that. I got my finger on the switch. Yes,
Yes.
that's a great one for sure. I haven't broke that out in a
Yeah.
while. That's a good one.
And yeah, so I would agree. A lot of, so right now, actually, I've had requests for with the like COVID, which this I learned this month. But a lot of them are like, yeah, can you get like the what not desanitation, that's the water stuff, but like the desteril, like, yeah, the desterilization. I think the cleaning calls, they're asking about that. And then I had this guy, we talked for like 20 minutes. He did sign up. Um, he did sign up. He wants it, but then he was also telling me about it that I can. He can also get those calls where like we can go into a place and like sterilize it, um, and everything. And then I was talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, it's special. You need the product, but it's like the machine. My industry." He's like, "Yeah, we already have the equipment because we use it for other stuff. But like if we have with the we buy the product, we load it in there. We can then go in and like clean out, like, because you're talking like the fumigation type deal. Like
Right.
we can do that." And he's like, if you can drive those calls, that's what he's getting right now, as well. And that's in big demand. And that's not obviously something I'm targeting at the moment, but it's like that did open my mind. I'm a little hesitant though because I'm not sure how. Like I'll try. I think
Well,
with because I don't. The
it's
pandemic's
something
not going anywhere.
exactly. It's something that I would look into as far as expansion, sure. Um, but I
Yeah.
would start with basic research on the type of equipment, the type of service, that what people are calling it, what consumers are calling it, what the news is calling it, because I'm sure it's trending right now, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and diving in that way and then seeing what the average ticket is. I'm sure it's going to be higher, yes, but at the same time, you want feedback direct from the business owners on that because the guys that sell the manufacturers that sell that kind of equipment, for example, sell it based on, well, um, you're going to be able to perform X amount of, or, capable of performing X amount of jobs, and when you do 100 or whatever, it pays for itself, or 50, it pays for itself, or whatever it is, right? That's how they
Mhm.
sell their equipment. Um, a lot of plastic surgeons that end up with like new equipment for stretch marks and all that kind of shit. That's how they sell their equipment to plastic surgeons, right? Is well, you get 50 people to sign up for treatments with the Cool Sculpt, and it pays for itself or whatever. Um, and then everything you do with it after that is your money, right? That's all you. And you need to know those kinds of things so that you can have those kinds of conversations with the people that are looking to expand into or adapt into adding that as a service, right, along with what you're originally doing. And it's worth noting that you can drive some calls for that, but it may dry up. It may dry up
Right.
just based on, again, it's something to keep. That's why I said it's something to keep your eye on, like with with the vaccination out. Um, just everything else that's going on. I'm not saying it's a bad vertical or anything. I'm just saying it's something to keep your eye on more than anything. And it's not necessarily something I would focus on right now for driving phone calls. But there's nothing keeping you from spending a little bit of time learning more about it to see what kind of demand there is for it. I mean, it could be overwhelming, like I said, right now, but then it could dry up. So, is that something you want to pursue? And if so, how many of your clients are even doing that and are going to be open to doing that? Because that's a significant investment, most likely, for that kind of equipment and training. Um, and what happens when they buy that equipment and then 2 months later, right, all the calls dry up? They're going to be looking at you going, "What?" Like you have the control over when somebody calls or not. You may have your finger on the switch, but you ain't the power company. You know what I mean?
Right.
If the
Yeah.
power shuts off power to your place, you can flip that switch all you want, and ain't shit gonna happen. So in some
Like I'm
cases,
experiencing right now.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're going to have calls come in, but it's not going to be, but you know that it's the slow season. It
No, I
gets
mean
it
like
gets better.
physically right now. Remember, I have a
Oh,
brownout.
with the
I have no
actual
power.
power. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's it. I mean, that really is it. Um, it's just something I would be aware of, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying
Yeah.
look into it.
And that is how I've taken it because I also now I know obviously my industry is regulated per state, so it might not
Yes,
even be something all states can do. So it's
correct.
there's licensing. Can you do it in your state? And then my other thing too is like I like I will look into it, but I'm also thinking I'll also run up against Google because it's like, well, can I even run those ads? What will I need to prove? Like, because they're very strict with certain things. Like, oh, are you trying to
Yes.
like take advantage of this situation? Like, I don't want to jeopardize anything or complicate it. So I'm looking
Yeah.
into it, but my gut says it's not happening, and I'm totally cool with it. Stick with the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to drive calls. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. Cool. Anything you want to give for the folks at home tuning in that I know are watching you blow this thing up? Um, anything that you can, I mean, I know you've given credit and all that. I'm just saying, like, is there anything that stuck out to you? Like you mentioned urgency. I've seen you mention follow up uh, from the things that we've talked about in the past. Is there anything else that maybe that you could tell people that are starting out or are going?
Yes.
Um, okay, go for it.
And this is what you've mentioned previously as well. But it's the along with the yeah, so with the urgency, but it's more of your mind, like my mindset as well. That you're not. I'm not calling as like a sales guy. Like I'm not just going through it. I'm not home advisor. Like I'm the business owner. I'm talking business to business. I have live calls right now. This is my problem. So I use that, maintain control of the conversation,
Good.
and I've noticed a lot of good results. But it's like, look, like because you'll hear objections. You have a site, things like that, and okay, yeah, this is it. But like
You know
when they're
exactly
like, I
where
want
their
to think
head's
about
at
it.
when they ask that. Where are they at?
Exactly. Yeah. Um, so it's like maybe it's like they don't trust me, they don't know me. It's like, okay, but look, I
Exactly.
like then no contracts, nothing up front. I have calls right now, they need to go somewhere. So it's like, forget about me right now. You know the good calls are coming in your area and I can give them to you.
Yep.
And so
Good
I
job.
continue to like just push it on that and which with what your suggestion before, and I feel that that's also helped me feel better as well because like sometimes just if I'm thinking of like a sales guy, yeah, sometimes I will get like worked up and like tongue tied a little bit when they're just objection after objection. I'm just like, but what about and then just more objection. It's like take the control and be like, look, man,
Yeah.
like I I have calls. They have to go somewhere. So do you need business right now? And I remember previously, like you lit it in that 'cause I've listened to your old sales conversation from
Yeah.
a while back. I actually I want to trim it and everything because I've actually trimmed one of your other dash calls just for little snippets, like 2 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and then like I've been playing that a little bit of just when you're like take control, urgency.
Yeah. Well,
You're probably
asking questions, by the way, controls a conversation like no other, right, Art?
true.
I mean, every time I talk to you and I ask you a question, if I end in a question, I'm going to be controlling the conversation. Make sense?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm still doing it right now, aren't I?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean, it's
And
crazy.
then
I
the
just
other,
keep asking questions. It's four questions, and you can see. I'm not talking necessarily over top of you, but if you notice, I keep at that's like four or five questions I just ask you right in a row. He who asks the questions, he or she who asks the questions, folks, in the conversation controls the conversation. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just
and,
fucking with you
and
on that one.
And then to expand, this another thing I want to share, and
Sure. No,
like how
please.
you just mentioned about just how like you like to see the success of like your students, and it makes you feel good,
Absolutely.
and um, and it's like so yesterday, yeah, I had four closes, four deals, which yeah, I feel great. That is probably my best day. I'm pretty sure, and
You're the
I
king of
was
the
on the
world
pilot for
now.
2 hours.
You're the king of the world,
Yeah,
Art.
but I really, I really felt like the king of the world because then I had to call one of my customers and he re-upped. He was one of my,
Oh, tell me. No, no, no. Come on now. You gotta.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
let's back up to the beginning. Forget about the storm and all that. I know you had some shit you had to deal with. I get it. And plus, you have another business you're running. So, in case people are wondering, like,
Yes.
does Art do this for 12 hours a day? No, he does not. Is Art a professional closer? No, he's not. That is not to say that obviously his results don't speak for themselves. They do. Art's a fucking stud in this business. However, when he got his start, he had some challenges like um, initially wanting to, get creative first. We had a couple of misalignments there. He came back and got things the way they needed to be done because he started to see, okay, William's not telling me to do this shit just because he's telling me to, because he gets off on controlling people or something. It's because he knows this is actually going to produce this result, and that's what I'm after. So Art started doing that, and the campaigns you're talking about, how long have they been running since we course corrected those? Couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks?
Yes.
And one of the clients and this client was one of the first conversations we had when you reengaged on that, if I remember right. This is over in the mentorship, I know, but you were concerned, maybe even possibly use the word worried, that you might not be able to deliver for them and they may like refund or cancel or stop working with you. Is that fair?
Yes. And I
Okay.
have, to be fair too, I have lost two original before December Dash. I did manage to get 5 clients. I
But you
did end
reached
up
out.
losing two.
But you reached
So I
out
had three.
because you were losing
Yeah.
them, right? Okay, so yeah, again, that's a good point. Clarifying that you got clients before, yes, so you knew you could do it, but you reached out because you were losing them on the delivery side. We course corrected on that with your campaigns and the optimization and stuff, and now you're telling me that you went from a few weeks, not even that wasn't even 3 weeks ago, was it? It was late November, right? I seem to think it
Yeah, I
was
think
late
so.
November, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like Thanksgiving to now, you went from a client that you were worried you were going to lose to he's paying you more money to go again. Dude,
Hmm.
that's in December, a historically slow month, not for acquisition, obviously, but for those kinds of delivery of calls, right? That's also
Yeah.
very fair to say. You just got a re-up. Is that your first re-up?
It is.
Wow. How much did he re-up for?
Another 10 calls for now.
Shit, man. Yeah, you're king
Uh,
shit. You're on top of the world, dude.
yeah.
That's
And actually, say, um, he actually, I'm sure I could talk him into, or not talk him into, but so I
yeah,
originally called him up and told him that we, like, that, yeah, because the invoice was sent, he ignored it, like when the threshold, or I don't know, but he didn't do it. And then I just looked and like, dude, like, if you have one more call and then it's done, and we need it, like, what's going on here? And then he
right.
told me that, yeah, and that was icing. I felt really good, but yeah, he's been really happy with the quality. He
Nice.
like so the quality. I mean, overall, I have delivered well more than the 10 calls. But a lot of them were, I mean, competitors like the not qualified. So like, okay, there was a little bit of learning curve. This guy was set up in October. So and if I did mention previously, I did drop the ball on setting up the campaigns or optimizing them properly. So it's resulted in, so yeah, just calling and it's not going anywhere. So,
Right.
but overall, he's since then, I've talked to him and things have improved. And but he's like, yeah, like the 10 calls, I'm really happy with that. And he understands that I'm working on improving the quality of it. So he's looking forward to that. The other thing he likes though is that yeah, that I am very transparent and I'm easy to work with, and that I'm not like the big like nameless corporation. Like one thing he noticed is that sometimes he'll open the dispute. Other times when he'll go in there, oh, I got a bad call, and he gets home, he'll
It's
go in
already
there and see
marked.
I've already,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, that's really cool. He's not even have to fight me, unlike the big guys that like
Oh
you
yeah.
fight tooth and nail for
They
it.
fight you on
So he's like,
every call. Yeah.
yeah.
That's great,
So
dude.
he's like honestly like the fact that you're proactive about it, like oh this isn't good, like no problem, I got you. Um, he is like that is really good. He loves that. He is totally comfortable. He also is open to even like vouch for me as a testimonial. Because I
Word.
then
That's
mentioned,
good.
yeah, like because I've had like maybe two people. Oh, is there anyone you're currently working with we can talk to? And I mean, I brush it off, but like after talking to him yesterday, hearing all about it, I asked him. I'm like, okay, I'm really happy because ultimately, like, you could be a good case study because he covers the whole county in Florida, and so the
Broward,
call
right?
volume is
You talking
definitely
about Broward? Yeah.
no,
Oh.
Hillsborough.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought you were talking about the guy down in Broward. Okay. That's cool. It doesn't matter. Um,
Um,
okay, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So he's happy. And then I was like, oh, maybe down the road you'd be open to this. And then he told me that like, oh, right now it's you could send someone. I'll talk to him. Like, this is great. I love it. And like he was just nothing but praise for me, even though like I mean, this is his first re-up. So I mean, junk gets in that you're optimizing it, and he's
Yeah.
no problem, man. Like, I can see it. This is great. I'm not going anywhere.
He
Like,
sees how you're
and I
doing
know it's only,
business. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and this is
It's more
only going to
about,
improve.
yeah, it's exactly. It's more about you and how you handle the business than it is necessarily about the calls, even initially. Good job, dude.
Mhm.
Solid,
Yeah, so
solid work.
that was the end of my day, and to me that just I had the biggest smile. Like
I
the
bet.
four calls that are four closes, that's great, but him, like, dude, that's oh man, that's amazing.
See, that's how a business owner talks, Art. Careful, you're in danger of being an extremely successful agency owner, like beyond anything you even thought was possible with that kind of thinking. Careful. You you're not just concerned about clients, right? You are in acquisition, you're concerned about existing clients and building that relationship and delivering to them. Man, there's so much that goes into the business, and a lot of it, yes, can be automated and semi-automated with people that you've hired as staff, but it can you can automate an extremely um, uh, premium service, right?
Mhm.
There's no doubt about it, and you're well on your way to doing that. So good job on that, and congrats on your first re-up. That's awesome. Glad you shared that as well. The um, the one thing I'll
I
tell you
did
on
have a question
referrals.
about the
Oh,
re-up too.
okay, go for it.
Um, so because when I reached out to him yesterday, I talked to him. He's like, "Oh, no problem. You have my card. Just hit it." And then I was like, "Okay, let me." I'm not sure if I can, but anyway, I found out because I logged into my demo account, and yeah, they just have to go to their wallet. Maybe that's where they. Is that where they can then
There's one of
like? Can
two.
the customer?
There's one of two ways
Yeah.
that can happen. Okay, so I see what you're asking. One of two ways that an account can be funded. It can be funded
Okay.
from the wallet from them directly. They can add their card and re-up at any time, even without talking to you, which is always a nice thing for your clients to know about. It's one of the main reasons I talk about initially in agency setup as to why you create a test company and log in so you can see all that kind of stuff and know how it works so that when the time comes, you're able to say, oh, well, head over to your wallet real quick, head in the back office, add a card, and it's not going to auto charge or anything if you don't have that set, and add whatever you want. Or if you want to collect via some kind of an invoicing system outside of Ring Ads, that's fine. Whatever it is that you do that you're going to collect payment from, then you can manually go in as an admin, right? You can go in and add funds to the wallet, right? Based on, so if he put $1,000 into his account or 300, whatever, you're able to go in and edit the wallet funds and add them, right, manually. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Okay.
And then, um, so then I guess when they're adding their card, because I
Yeah.
know in the like when I'm setting up in the back end, I can like turn the whole auto bill on or off. When they're adding it, is that can they turn that on potentially or no?
Auto bill, I believe there's an option for them to do that. Yeah,
Because I
there's
guess
an
my
option.
question, like, once he's done the first re-up, say I call him next time and he's, oh, dude, just hit my card. Is that something that I can be like, oh, no problem, boom, boom, I hit it? Can I do that or no?
No, no, you can't.
Never.
No.
Okay, I didn't think I could.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't want that. It's not PCI compliant for one thing. I mean, It's verbal authorization, but I mean that's very shaky ground. Verbal
Okay. I
authorization,
mean, all
even
my calls are recorded.
all your what?
All my calls are recorded.
No, that's fine. I mean, and again, you could supply that as evidence to a merchant processor like Stripe or PayPal or a third party, whatever, or an actual merchant account, and they would accept that as evidence. Would they find for you? I don't know because again,
Yeah.
it's very gray area, very shaky ground that you're on at that point. We take card
Hmm.
information through things like ClickFunnels and have them added into their back office. Or if you have an invoicing system that you want to use, QuickBooks or whatever it is, I wouldn't recommend that actually because not because I don't like them, like FreshBooks or QuickBooks or anything, but because it adds another layer of complication slash like issues. Every time somebody wants to re-up, they got to fucking call somebody, or you got to call them if they're down to one or two calls left, kind of a thing. And that always sucks.
Right.
It's much easier
Right.
to precondition your clients, obviously, to go into the wallet. It gets them used to the idea of the back office and that it's there for them to use, and they load in a card. They can change the card, all that kind of stuff. And you can set it to auto bill if you want. If they get to that level with you of trust, that's fine. I wouldn't start initially with clients like that, but I would have them learn how to load a card in to the wallet. And then if things go wrong, or if there's a big purchase, like let's say they do volume, like for a discount, like maybe they do, maybe you sell them 50 calls for a 5% or 10% discount or something, but they want to do
Hmm.
that via wire transfer. Okay, take the wire. Hey, I saw the wire come in today, Bob, and I don't know why I called him Bob, but I saw your wire come in today, Bob, and I'm gonna I just manually added the funds to your account, to your wallet. You should see them. Please confirm. Please take a look and confirm, and they're gonna see it in their wallet and be like, "Yep, I see it. I see the 5 grand you added or whatever." And thanks, appreciate it. Now we don't have to look at shit till June or whatever,
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Um, but that's how I would approach it for the re-ups. Now, good question too, by the way. I like where your head's at. The other thing I'll tell you is this: referrals. So, have you've been around long enough? Have you heard my referral training?
Off the top of my head, I don't think
Okay,
so. I know you've talked
okay.
about it, but
You're gonna want to
it's
grab
that
a
training?
you're gonna
No.
want to grab a pen and a pad and get ready. So here it goes.
Hmm.
And I'm going to down and dirty on this one because I could go all day actually on this topic. Referral business by far is some of the best business you'll ever pull. It converts uh, at some of the highest rates, if not the highest rates you'll ever see in terms of closing for what we do in many other industries as well. But I cut my teeth on getting good referral business from insurance sales, and referral business in the insurance industry is the difference between whether you eat steak for the month or whether you eat ramen for the month, in a lot of cases, or just eat normal food for the month, right? Not go out to eat all the time. So, which is why I was such a fat insurance agent because I was always eating pretty damn good. Um, Here's the deal with referrals. The first thing is you need to identify in your market. This is for I'm teaching referrals as a blanket for anything you sell, but uh, I'll apply it to pay per call here in just a second. So first thing you need to do is identify 3 to 5 problems that your market currently has, right? The people you're after. So in this case, for pay per call, do you need more business right now? Is a fucking obvious one because you asked that of them, but they're not going to remember that, right? They're not going to. Well,
Hmm.
maybe they do, but vaguely, right? They're thinking about the calls you're driving, so they're not worried about the first question you ask them and that you're asking them that in a referral form. What about uh, problems like revenue drop because of COVID, right? A drop in if there's monthly services that are provided, like your vertical and many others, or ongoing services, or tune-ups and stuff like that that can be provided for a monthly fee. Um, have you had a drop in your monthly residuals or monthly recurring, right? And so there's main problems. That's three right there off the top of the bat. Now here's how you ask the question. This is what I want you to write down. So first thing you write down is Identify 3 to 5 problems of the market that you're asking for referrals from. The second thing you do is you write this down. The second thing you write down is who do you know that? And
Mm.
it's very specific, folks. You get one word of this wrong, your referrals pulling skills suck. And it's not because it's not my fault because I'm giving you all the words. You got to say all the words. It's not do you know someone, it's who do you know? It's assuming they already know people, and I guarantee you they do. And if they can't
Yeah, they
think of
do.
anybody off the top of off the top of their head, which you'll hear a lot, what do you tell them to do? Or what do you remind them that they have in their possession, always within 3 feet of them?
Yeah, the
Actually,
phone. Like, so pull
the
up the
phone.
contact list.
The phone, pull out the contact list, go ahead, I'll wait, mute. And I'm sitting here. That's the equivalent. So in person, when I would ask for referrals, I'd say, "Oh, well, you got your phone." And this is before smartphones, mind you. People had a contact list in their cell phones. They weren't smartphones, but they were text capable, right? With the whole, you had to do like the number punching for the text, um, and but they still had contact lists, right? And so when they would say, I would say, "Who do you know right now that just they just got a new job?" And then I would do this. Watch. So I've got my pen and pad here, right, as an example. I would ask that question, and I'm looking at the camera. So I'd say, "Who do you know that just started a new job?" And that's what I do, just like that. I don't make eye contact with them. In other words, I'm looking at the paper. And I swear to God, I have had some of the craziest experiences doing this. It's so funny on the in-person level, at the in-person level where I'm looking down at my paper, to fill out, and they know that, and I've got my pen in my hand. I'm just sitting here like this. I ask that question, make eye contact with them, and then sit there and wait on the answer. And I've sat there 20, 30 seconds, and I'll hear this, or like, not like super laughing, but you can tell like the husband and wife looked at each other and went, you know what I mean? Like they did one of those. And I don't break character. I'm a fucking stone, right? Because I want them referrals. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my business. So I'm sitting here just waiting, and I don't break. And then all of a sudden I hear the old razor phones, right? The old flip phones and shit. I'll hear that flip open, and I hear button click, click, clicks, right? Click, click, clicks, and I still just wait, you know. Sometimes I'll scratch my head, like I'm sitting here, no big deal. I'm not exasperated or anything, no, or nothing. I'm just sitting here breathing normally, waiting. Oh, Jimmy, okay, and I start writing Jimmy, and as soon as he says an answer or she says an answer, I say Jimmy, and I'm writing Jimmy, and I say, and how do you know Jimmy? Oh, he's your brother-in-law. Got it. What's a good number to reach him at? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Where did he start working, by the way? And notice how I turn that very casual. So it's like, yeah, he's giving me sensitive information, but it's very casual. So who do you know that started a new job? That's an insurance thing. So how do we translate this to pay per call? Back to those problems, those 3 to 5 problems I mentioned. Who do you know that needs more business right now in XYZ vertical, right? Insert your vertical here. And then, or the equivalent of that would be mute yourself on the phone. Oh, I can't think of anybody right now. Oh, you got your cell phone on you, right? You got your smartphone on you. I'll wait. Mute. And just sit there with your pen and paper. You better be ready. You better ask the name, first and last, how they know them, um, what their best number is, and then the last question I always go a step further and always ask this is like, now I don't know when I'm going to be able to give Jimmy a call, right? If I'm looking at that first referral there example, well when I do. Uh, I'm assuming it's okay to say that we've talked. I'm sure he's going to want to know how the hell I got his name and number. Uh, Matter of fact, probably be a good idea, to give him a call and let him know. And I always do that, like nod, like because they've already got the phone in their hand, and 9 times out of 10 they'll just start dialing him right then and there. Yeah, hey Jimmy, this is Bob over here, and I'm sitting down with uh, a life insurance agent. His name is William, and I just gave him your name and number. I'm assuming that's okay because he asked me who just started a new job, and I thought of you because you're my best bud, and I've known you all my life, and you just started that new job over there, and da da da. Yeah, yeah. And then sometimes Jimmy will want to talk to me. I'll set an appointment right then and there. Sometimes they won't, and I'll just follow up with them. I'll be like, "Hey, Jimmy, this is William. Was the life insurance agent that was sitting down with Bob the other night. Does that ring a bell?" Right, that whole thing, and get back on the same page with them. But the point is, you pull referrals at least one, if not two or three, for each question you ask. So it's like, okay, Jimmy, got it. Brother-in-law number, best number, um, and then who else, right? And I just wait. And then the next question is going to be, so who do you know that needs more business right now in XYZ vertical? Then it's going to be, who do you know right now that their monthly residuals have been affected by COVID? And I'll just wait. That's it. It's that simple, folks. And you'll pull 3 to 5. This is how my record was. I got so good that I was able to pull 3 to 5 referrals on average from a house, no doubt. Some houses, I spent more time in the house pulling referrals with like 30 from one place than I did closing the business. I spent more time talking about the referrals that I was going to be calling up than I had so many referrals I couldn't follow up with all of them. I had to dole them out to some of the other agents in the office because I could not handle them for 50%, of course. I'm not going to be just giving shit away. I'm going to make some money on that, no doubt. And I would give them the whole backstory. Yeah, this is Myrtle, and she's got a lot of people, and here's who they are, how they're related, this and that, and you just say um, one of the agents from the office, right, from our office or whatever, and use that as your in, and that was it. That was all it took, and I'd get 50% of business. I never even sat down with people. My name was signed to a lot of business that I never even met that person. Kind of cool, right? Kind of cool.
Hmm.
I got commissions for shit that I never even, so referrals for us is gold because of every client you get, the deal, how much they're worth and all that. But that's how you dig for referrals. Um, Getting a video testimonial is not a bad idea, right? It's helpful. Or some kind of a call recording where you put maybe a picture of him and ask for permission, of course, at the end of the call or at the beginning of the call, rather, to take a snippet of it, right? Or say, hey, and having someone to be able to call as a reference is even not even better. It's a good idea to have that in addition to having them as a testimonial, which is something you can place on your agency site right above those call recordings that I tell you to post on your site when you get them. So good job on
Yeah.
that, Art.
Yeah, because
Um,
though I would agree the one is social proof is always good for the
oh
fact,
yeah,
but yeah,
oh yeah.
and then
But having a
the
reference that they can call is
yeah,
sometimes you'll get
better.
somebody that's like, well, who else are you doing business with? And you're like, listen, I can't for reasons of confidentiality and protecting my clients, I can't tell you that. What I can do though is I have a guy right now in mind that I just asked recently if he'd be cool with people calling him up and asking him what his experience is like with working with us, and he said yes. And so for that one, because he gave me permission, so now, notice I didn't just give him the answer and say, "Yeah, I got somebody." I built it up to the point where it's like, "Listen, I can't share that kind of information with you except this guy because he did agree to it." And then give him the name and
Right.
number. Hell, maybe even if I'm ballsy enough, in a lot of cases I am, or stupid enough, and also in a lot of cases, I'll call him up right then and there. I'll say, "Hey, you got a minute? Cool. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna add him on to the other line then." And I switch over and dial him. And then the phone's ringing, and I'm on the call with the prospective client, calling up the uh, uh, the reference, the reference. And so when the reference answers, "Hey, Jimmy, it's William over here. Oh, hey, how you doing? Listen, I got Bob on the other line. He's out in Houston, and he does what you do, and I got calls over there, believe it or not. I know you could probably care less if I got calls going in Houston over there because you're in Florida or whatever. But fact of the matter is, I got clients everywhere now. You know that, and you said it'd be all right if somebody called you every once in a while and asked you about the service. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you mind, Jimmy, telling Bob about Just, you know, whatever you want to tell him, like, how's it going for you? How did we start and all that kind of stuff? Would you mind giving a quick minute? And then, sure. And so he goes into this 5 minute thing about the business, and here's the really crazy thing, because you're on that call, you're going to hear things, you're going to hear him say things that he may not normally say to you to your face if it was just you two about you.
Hmm.
And that, if that's recorded, because it's on the same call, it's even better. Like, you've got that now, and you probably pick up the client, right? That you're after, the prospective client. There's a, and then, you know what I would do after that is like, hey, listen, I'm not incentivizing or anything. After that call's over and you get the client, I'm not. You call up your reference. You say, listen, hey man, that was a great call. I actually got the client, so thank you for that. Matter of fact, my way of saying thank you where I'm from is a $25 or $50 gift certificate or whatever to Outback Steakhouse or whatever maybe that's come up in conversation that's a favorite of his, right? Um, Whatever that is, or an Amazon gift card or something, right? And uh, just need to know where to send it. Is the business address to send it? Okay, I'll send it, and then you send it, right? Or you send it via email because I think you can do a lot of electronic cards these days, Art. So you don't have to worry about customs and all that kind of shit for mailing. But my point is, those little extra special thank yous make it so that he's going to go out and be like, damn, I got a $50 gift card. Now, he said he's not incentivizing, but at the same time, he sent me a gift card to say thank you. This is the kind of guy I want to send everybody I know his way. And you're going to get referrals without even fucking asking. Yeah, hey, I'm calling you up because Jimmy told me to give you a call. He said you're best around to deliver phone calls for XYZ Vertical. So here I am. And it's like, well, where are you located, sir? That's the conversation and how it starts. It's like, shit, you're taking client onboarding information from a referral, and that does happen. And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than you have to be careful based on industries and regulations. Like insurance, you can't rebate or give gifts like that. But there are some things that you can do to say thank you. So, for example, you may not be able to again rebate or give gifts to people that take out policies, but an account manager of a company, you can definitely send them a thank you gift. Absolutely. And it has nothing to do with the policies that are or are not signed because that's with the employees, not with the account manager, if you will. And that's a great way to maintain that and build even that relationship even further and stronger with those kinds of clients that you'll have. You do that half a dozen times, dude, you're going to have a business that plus the re-ups that you're experiencing right now. That's how you take a 20 client, 30 client business that you very, very much are within striking distance of building, Art, this month. That's how you take 20, 30 clients this month and turn it into 50, 60 next month with probably half the effort on phone calls, I might add, and much more delivery because again, it is January, right? And then you reinvest a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit of what you've earned and what you're making into position 1 and 2 at least. February's position 3, and possibly customer support. March is definitely customer support and onboarding, and now you're an agency manager, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the last position for you to hire, which is going to take a few months for you to build, basically through the strong seat or through the season there. But in the fall of next year, you'll be able to hire an agency manager, no doubt. They'll be promoted from within, no doubt, and you'll probably be in a second, maybe a third vertical by fall if you keep that kind of growth pace up. Which means uh, 7 figures next year, maybe 8 if you really push. I mean, I'm telling you, man, the pace you're at, if you kept this up and built systems and processes around it, that's when you're able to you may not be able to put in 8 hours a day right now or anything, but I'll tell you, and you don't ever have to. But man, if you ever got to the point where you've got 50 clients in a vertical and you do put in that 8 hours, people are, you're going to get buyout offers for 9 figures for an agency. There's no doubt in my mind. and within a couple of years. And that's if you even decide to entertain that kind of notion. But again, crazy to think of that, right? But that's also why I say, bro, what's your vision? You know, and not just for you, but for everybody out there. That's why that was the topic for today. I want you guys to, you're a couple weeks in on the December Dash, and you're in a great place, Art, to be able to see exactly what I'm talking about on the daily topics, maybe more than most. Not that others can't see what I'm saying, and that doesn't make sense to them as much, but there are things that make more sense to you than do others right now, given the position they're in. So this is one of those things where if you don't have clients yet, if you're still working on building the agency, that's cool. Keep progress is perfection. Keep doing what you're doing, right? You'll get there. And when you get to that 10 client mark or double digit client mark, and you're doing that double digit client dance, right? Um, that's when you should come back to sessions like these, at least for the topics of the first 20 or 30 minutes, usually of the sessions that we're doing daily, right? And review those. And you're going to pull so much from those that that make a difference in not just how you think and how you live, but how you run the business ultimately, and makes a big difference. Anyway, um, Art, anything else you want to share or ask or?
I guess yeah. So then, with that one that re-upped, because I'm sure
Yeah,
someone's gonna ask.
sure.
So and I okay, and there's, once again, just a disclaimer. It was not the issue was on my end for the like not optimizing what I should have. Just so, but anyway, like so ultimately, if I did check ring ads. I've driven a total of 39 calls when he got
Hmm.
10. That is a little high. And some of them were just like they never even connected. The person hung up. So like, okay, that's right away. Okay, that's fine. Um, but then but ultimately, yeah, some of it I was just a little generous because he's one of the newer clients. Others there were issues because of lack of optimization on my end.
Okay.
But I'm saying that so there's 39 calls that he got based on my cost. Believe it or not, I'm only in the hole about $52 from what he paid me and my delivery costs,
Right.
excluding Twilio and all that stuff. But just ad costs, like it cost me, I think on average, my average is like $8. So I mean, eight times
Here's my
36
question.
to
Is
39.
that 39
Yeah.
calls from when you started with him or 39 calls from when you made the changes?
The life of the account.
The life of the account. So that's like all the fuck ups and the good shit.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so what is it? And this is where it gets interesting. What is it if you were to look at it? And again, it can be a ballpark, but get me something in the range of what it would look like when you started the. When did we? That makes it. We got to know when you started the new campaign. It had to be 2 3 weeks ago. There's no way it was longer than a month. Pretty sure. So when did
Yeah.
that happen?
Yeah, about 2 3 weeks ago, I would say. I sadly like with the no power here right now, I can't turn on my
Oh,
laptop, but
you
I
can't
can't
look
look
at
at
the, okay,
numbers.
okay. I know.
But
How about this?
yeah,
I know that means you're in profit. There's no way you're not, based on that.
yeah. Oh, I would agree.
So
Totally.
now that you've course corrected, which by the way, we don't, you know how I do. I don't want you beating yourself up. I don't want you worrying about what you did initially. It's good to recognize it and know that in the back of your mind that you have a potential and or a tendency to want to do your own thing, and that's the result. That's the only time you should ever reflect on what you did initially, uh, not to beat yourself up, right? You don't go back there to, you don't revisit those things to beat yourself up, and I don't revisit them to beat you up. We revisit them because they're good reminders, in other words, lines on the road that clearly indicate where we should, in order to keep it between the lines, that's what we use as reference, right? Uh, Otherwise, how do we keep the car on the road? So again, you don't have to beat yourself up at all about that. I'm very pleased with your progress and your results, um, and you're just getting started, really. I mean, uh, I can't wait. I can't wait for the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks are going to be, if you thought the first 2 weeks of this thing, the first 16 days or whatever this thing has been good for you, Art, or anybody else is tuning in, watching Art and his success, and everybody else is, I'm telling you right now, the next 2 weeks are going to be even better. And everybody's going to look at you like you're a magic man. I promise you. And it really isn't. I know you know that. But you've paid your dues, man. You've earned your stripes. And you keep doing what you're doing and just use things as reminders as to why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing it. Keep that bigger vision. Keep your head about you, which, I mean, you sound great for a guy who doesn't have power right now. You know what I'm saying? So good on you for that too.
Yeah.
Like that's what it takes. Those kinds of things, man. So you keep doing much more of that, and yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
to add to that, I would say that I mean, yeah, I know that you're with your teachings, like because you are there, what you provide. I mean, it works, and I've heard it from other people that what about this? I want to do that, and I've also been in the same situation where like, okay, well, your idea sounds cool, but I think this will work better, and I've tried it. Sometimes I did not get the results that I was hoping for. So
right,
now it's like, just stick with what William is teaching, even if you don't understand it. It is real. It does work. Just like get on the phones. It's going to be bumpy, but you're more people you talk to, you'll naturally improve.
yeah,
You will make clients, and then once the fulfillment comes, you follow what William is teaching. You will be able to deliver. There's no
yeah,
doubt of that. Like, so it's like realistically, like stop fighting it. Like just sit down and really just like, what, this it's legit. This is real. Like
yeah.
not blowing
Well,
smoke.
here's the thing, and I appreciate that, Art. Here's the thing: um, when it comes to what I teach and all that, you're right. However, right, there is a caveat. I don't say never get creative. I encourage it. I appreciate it,
Right.
right? And there are things,
Now's
for
not the time.
example, yeah, well, now's not the time exactly. And there are examples of great creativity that you've been the perfect example of, Art, yourself. Like for example, um, I talk about the Google Maps contact extractor, and you go and find a discount link for it, right? Like and share it with the group, and you've done that a couple times. You somebody talks about having problems with Skype because of the bandwidth that it sucks out of the out of the computer and everything, and out of the internet signal. And you talk about Mighty Call, and it's the best thing since sliced bread, apparently, and I'm all for it. The thing is, those are creativity that is directed towards achieving the same exact thing I'm teaching. So they're more along the lines of tools and things that you use to get the job done, which is not only in alignment, but good, very, very solid contributions to the community. One of the main reasons I do what I do is for me to stay sharp for my own agency building and also to keep you guys uh, contributing back to the community for shit like that. That's very helpful, not just to you guys, but also to me, right? So those are the two main reasons I do what I do for ring ads. Okay, instead of just doing it myself and not sharing with anybody. I'm an abundant thinker like that. So for you to share that way in creativity, uh, get creative, sure, just get creative later when it comes to the processes, when it comes to the instructions. And it's not because I know best, it's because I've been there, done that, and I know where the potholes are at, right? I know where the potholes are at. I know how to keep the car between the lines with very minimal effort instead of having to fight to drive, right? Um, or running things off the road and completely sapping yourself. Let me ask you this of the momentum. Let me ask you this, Art. What's your momentum like right now? Are you busting through walls,
Oh,
or are you just kind of like lounging back?
I feel I'm busting through walls, but sometimes I'm lounging, like, but I'm busting. Like I'm on fire.
Exactly. And that's my point is that maybe you started with the whole lounging thing, but after a certain point, when you start doing it, it's kind of like, oh, fuck, I don't have time to lounge right now, right?
Right.
I don't have
Like
time.
I'm
And
really
yeah,
bummed I have no power. Man, I wanted to call today. Like,
see,
and it's
that's good. But here's the
like,
thing. Shit happens. What do we do about
yeah,
it? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Art without power, what does art without power do? You know what I used to do when I was in third world countries without power and rolling brownouts and blackouts and shit? And I've dealt with that before, by the way. I've dealt with 12-hour blackouts. You know how I used to do it? I would
Hmm.
download, and a lot of it was PDFs and reading. So think books, but PDF format or Kindles. Uh, when that stuff was still not as popular as it is today. But I would download a lot of stuff to like an iPad, believe it or not. And I would just have it just kind of sitting there in the wings. So when internet was good, and I always had the max internet signal wherever I was at back then, that was important because it was always very low wherever I was at. And I would pull everything I needed while internet was good. Sun is shining, make hay, right? That's the deal. Make hay while sun's shining. So that's what I would do. And then boom, power goes out. And I'm right in the middle of something that's fucking awesome and good. And it's like, fuck, right? I have that moment. And then what do? I stand up, I stretch. I'm like, fucking Uruguay or Panama or wherever the hell I was at the time, right? And I'm like, that's all right. I'm in a great country. They just don't know how to manage their fucking utilities. And then I go and I get a drink. I verbalize the venting, right? I get it out, puked it out. Nobody's around, so I'm not infecting anybody with negative shit. And then I go and I get a drink of, not a drink, but like of water or a Coca-Cola or something. Not necessarily the best thing, but something to like, wet my beak, change my state, because when you stand up, move around, drink something, anything actually, you're changing your state. And then my mind goes, oh yeah, I downloaded a bunch of fucking books on this subject and I was wanting to study up on it. So I'll pull out my notepad and I'll pull out my book on my iPad, which had like many hours of charge, right? It was always charged up. And then I would just scroll through and watch videos if I had them downloaded on training, or I would read through PDFs and take notes. And I wouldn't just take notes to take notes. I would take notes on the key things, and then I would start categorizing things as well. So like after a while, there's only so long you can do that on a 12-hour blackout, right, or brownout. At that point, it's I've got like 3 pages of notes here. What's actionable today? And so I would actually go through and organize and sort those notes and go, I can do this today. And I would pull out a post-it pad and I would write out actual to-do list for certain things that were to do. And I would put like a little check mark by it, like as in that one's going to be done today. And then I would say, okay, these are filed away for next week or next month or next year, based on urgency and whether or not they were extremely relevant, or if they were just concepts, I'd put a big C, right? Things like that that would help me kind of annotate. And I would I'd block out with like a square bracket on one end and put a C. So that way I know that whole little note section thing really is just a concept, right? And so many times I would go through, even today, I can go through a notepad and go concept, and I would read it, be able to absorb it, and be instantly back to the place I was when I was, and go, is that something that I can apply here today, right now? And then if it's a yes, it's okay, where? And if there's multiple places, or you get the idea. The point is, I was able to process things that most people don't ever take the time to do, by the way. And so I would use a brownout or a blackout not only to my advantage, but to where most people would have a disadvantage. It was double the advantage for me because I wasn't just using that time to read or absorb. I was also using that time to build off of strategy, the concepts, and a to-do list on all those things while learning the exact same things I just mentioned at the same time, and getting field experience, not just learning, but getting field experience, real world practice with. That's why it's like, how does William know like what he knows? How's he able to tell me about this or that? And like, I don't understand how his mind works. It's years of doing exactly what I just described. I find leverage where most people see misfortune or shit opportunities, or shit going bad. I see fortune, I see leverage, and I use it. I use it to my advantage. And in a lot of cases, because I'm an abundant thinker, like I said, I shift that leverage and fortune to others. And Ring As would be a perfect example of me doing that on a daily for you guys. So I'm happy to be here, happy to be teaching this. Um, Happy to see you guys getting the results. Art, keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're doing great. Um, you've come a hell of a long way in a very, very short time. Very, very short time. Very proud of that.
Yeah. I've actually, um, like, so with one of the, I don't know, a little before December Dash, like when you were doing the fast track or whatever,
The
I
sessions,
was
the prep
watching some,
sessions, the fast start.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I did attend because I wanted to see if there's anything in there, but ultimately,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already set up before then, so like a lot of what you covered, but I still was there listening to it, and it was just really helpful because then like I don't know, I remember I ended up having a dream like one of those days in between it, um, and it just felt so real. So because right now I'm in the province, I am on the main island with Manila, but I mean we're in the province, thing, but I don't know. So my I don't know. I just had this such a vivid dream where that and it felt like it was in the near future where like I just woke up and like I don't know, just imagining walking into like just an office. I had like 15, 20 staff. They're all humming away. Everyone's having a great time. And then I um
That
went
makes me
home and like
smile.
I had a cup. Yeah, and then I had a condo in like this BGC area in Manila, and it's like super not wealthy, but it's yeah, like a lot of foreigners are there. Like it's high class. It's I mean, but you're talking like rent though, and for Philippines it's gonna be a lot. But rent wise, you can have like a New York City style, like a really nice penthouse. You're paying like $3,000, $4,000 a month in rent. Here, that's I mean, not many people can do that. But it's like
Right.
amazing views. Like I that's what I was just envisioning that I had like a nice penthouse, amazing view over Manila Bay, and like this is oh man, like it just felt so real and it's like obtainable, and like that's not my full why, but it's like I want that. I taste it.
That's a very strong part of your vision. There's nothing wrong, like I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting to feed your family, do well for your family, do well for yourself, reward yourself. I've talked about rewarding yourself at every level, micro rewards, and the bigger stuff as well. There's nothing wrong with that, Art, so don't feel bad about that at all. What I guess my point is to drive that further is the vision that needs to be the start of your vision. Like that should be, and it should be
It is.
acknowledged that exactly. It should be, and this is for everybody else. That should be the start of your vision, not the end. For most people, though, and you know this to be true, Art. Maybe even it was true for you initially. That was the end of the vision, or that's where the vision, not maybe the end of it, but that's as far as you could see. Does that make sense? It's as
Hmm.
far as you were trying to see. You can see much, much further than that, and that's the whole point of uh, having a vision, protecting it, and yeah, I mean, let me tell you something. When you headquarter at the penthouse and you've got the 15 to 20 staff humming around, right? You're going to have the ability to achieve things that right now would be science fiction, or
Hmm.
damn near. And that's something that as you're developing your vision and visions morph and not necessarily change, but they do get more specific in certain areas and a little bit uh, murky in others. Like for example, you look at guys. Okay, here's a good example. Look at Elon Musk. He says we're going to Mars, and everybody's like, "Fuck," right? Like, okay, I'm with you. Um, now we just got to figure out how, right? And there's a quote about the details. What was it? It's the vision versus the details. You know what I'm talking about? The quote. There's a quote
Not
about
verbatim, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
you've heard of it, and I'm trying to get the quote's so good. It's Jeff Bezos quote. I remember now. Jeff Bezos details. Not that he's necessarily the best to quote from all the time. However, it was a damn good quote. Um, Details quote. Go to images. I'm sure it'll pop up. Let's see. Like it's in the details, something along those lines. Oh, here it is. We're stubborn on vision, we're flexible on details. So it's like, I'm going to Mars. How the fuck I get there, I really could care. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as we get there and are able to come back. Like, and I'm not saying Elon's thinking the exact same way, but I guarantee you it's along those lines of he has that greater, larger than life vision. And it's not just Mars. I mean, you look at his car company, Tesla, right? What's the vision for that company? It's to change how we function and live in a very big way. A lot of people spend a lot of their lives in cars commuting. I mean, can you imagine like with and the Boring project supports that as well. Like with the underground tunnels, the super speed tunnels, the supersonic tunnels that he wants to build, um, will completely
And the flamethrowers.
revolutionize the travel industry, huh?
And the flamethrowers. You can get the Boring Company flamethrower.
Yeah, the flamethrower, which clearly he has a great sense of humor. When everybody was shorting his stock, he went and sold limited edition, um, short shorts, right? And they
Hmm.
sold out. And the short shorts were the price of it was oh $69 and for 42 cents or 69.420, so 69.420. Like he was just, and on the back of the red shorts, it spells sexy, but it's in the S model, the E or the 3 model instead of the E, because they couldn't use the E, by the way. The X model, the Y model actually spells sexy with the 3 backwards, looking like an E, just backwards. And he's got a good sense of humor, very clearly. But at the same time, look at his vision. Look at, we're going to Mars. Okay. And what are we going to do when we get there? I'm sure he's got a vision for that, 100%. We're going to, uh, we're going to put tunnels everywhere for supersonic travel. And uh, the tunnel builders, actually, that he has take the dirt that's usually excavated from the tunnel. Normally, it costs a ton of money to like, and time and effort and everything to, which is why tunneling costs so much, to excavate the dirt. He takes the dirt, the machine takes the dirt rather, and makes the bricks for the wall of the tunnel right then and there. And it's not necessarily the fastest tunneling machine, but it's low cost compared. It's like a fraction of the cost compared to, and they think they can get the Boring Project thinks they can get the cost down even further, like significantly further, which means it's not only economical, it's going to be an absolute must. I think we're going to one day. I don't know if we'll be alive for it because it's going to take a while to dig all that shit, but I think there's going to be a significant network of underground supersonic pathways for cars. Maybe not even supersonic to start with. It's just going to be like Tesla tunnels. But those cars can get up to 130, 150 easy, no problem. And if it's a straight shot, no lights, and it's a tunnel, it doesn't necessarily. It could follow the interstate system, or even more of a straight shot, and you can arrive at your destination. I mean, faster and cheaper and cleaner than almost flying, right? But by plane, because if you add the time of that it takes for security and what else, uh, checking your bags and getting your ticket and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, you could have already been halfway to California, for example, right? With that at 150 miles an hour, you could show up. And the thing is, if in a self-driving car in a tunnel like that takes vision. That's not a let me build a good car so that I can feed my family. You see what I'm saying? Not that there's no
Hmm.
alignment there. It's definitely more like what I just described about the vision. Get stubborn on it, as Bezos would say. The details, be flexible on, right? And that makes perfect sense. Like build the agency. How you get there? Eh, be flexible on it. You may not like ClickFunnels. Be flexible. Use it because it fucking works. Maybe in the future, and by the way, migrating from ClickFunnels over to something else is super fucking easy. Come on, guys, it's not that goddamn hard, right? Just do it. Do it and thank me later, right? You'll be like Art thanking me later. And that's I can't stress that enough. Um, and as much as Art would like to thank me and will probably continue doing, I would say this, Art, like you earned it. I taught you, sure. I'm going to continue teaching you, yes, but you're the one implementing. So the credit belongs to you ultimately for building the agency. Um, you've got you've got a good head on your shoulders right now about what's working, why it's working, trusting the process, getting creative later, all that kind of stuff. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing so well. Uh, I can't wait to see what you do again the last couple weeks. And I gotta, we gotta bounce because it's been a little over 2 hours. I don't want to be on here all day, keeping you from getting stuff done. I want to answer some questions here in the comments, or at least respond.
Real,
And
can
sorry,
I just say one other thing before?
sure, of course.
Okay. So that, yeah, they'll, with your, just, you just need to be dialing for like an hour or two. That's all you need. Don't go crazy.
Yeah,
And I would totally agree with that because like I did do the couple hours for a little bit and then I wanted to like, oh, let me just blow it up. So I did dial for like good solid 8 hours, and dude, my results just were horrible. Like
yeah,
it's like, okay, never again. I'm spending $60 in Dollar Central a day, and it's like there was no, totally not worth it. I'm not doing that again.
right.
I tried it. Like no, 1 or 2 hours is all I need. Do the follow up, do the other things if you have the time, and then to also just mention or reiterate or just yeah re-mention what you just said about the like 1 degree. It's like
Yeah,
all you like you don't have to like just any progress. It's your personal progress. Like just don't look at me and be like, oh, I can never do that. Like I just like I work. I only have an hour or two. I can't dedicate all this time. I'm not just like don't try to do what I'm doing if you can't. Like just okay, call for an hour or two. It's like just a 1 degree more. Where will you be in like 6 months? Like
shit, not even. Try 30
yeah,
days. An hour,
yeah,
3 times a week, 30 days, you'll see a significant difference. It may not be quit your job, feed the homeless, feed the hungry, but damn if it ain't on the way towards that. Like you're going to be able to see, you're going to be able to start to connect some of those dots and those details that most people are focused on, right? I would say that.
hmm
I know you feel that way. I mean, you probably, let me ask you, when you, not that you didn't believe me or that any of that stuff back, way back when, but you've been around, you've seen me off and on long enough, like what, maybe a couple, 2, 3 years now at least.
hmm
Okay. And now here you are, couple of attempts, no big deal. Here you are though, double digit clients, best month arguably in pay per call that I think you've ever had, if I'm not mistaken.
yes,
Um, and you just getting warmed up. I mean, it's just like I say, it's unreal in a good way. It's not unrealistic. It's just surreal, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Uh, but very much real. And I don't know. I look at that and I go, what uh, what is it that art has, or what is it that art has figured out that everyone else hasn't yet, right? And it's all the things that I talk about, which is why I dedicated every day this month to talking about those kinds of things, the things that are that you don't get. Again, you even said yourself, you got to have a reason why. Find out your reason why. That's what you hear from every, and I know you know this. Everybody knows this. That's what you hear from everybody and their brother. Everybody that actually knows and is in the know and teaches mindset like that, and everybody that has regurgitated it or said the same thing that they heard from the powers that be. And while it's not untrue, it's not the same thing as being extremely specific, very specific about what that looks like. And not only, which is a vision, and it's got to be larger than life. It cannot be just about stepping stones, sure, and it can be about you and your family at first, sure, and about quitting the job first, sure, but they cannot. You can't. You have to go beyond that. You know, and your business will see when you implement those to the degree that I'm talking about. Everybody is going to see major differences in how you perform, how you show up to perform. Right, that's a huge difference, and you're right. You don't need hours and hours to do this. It's in most cases not beneficial to do that. And you're let's see, you've got 11 clients. Do you know how much you spent on the dollar total this month?
yes, I do. So total, I would say okay, about 400, but that was 400, but that was with me spending some of those days $60 a day because I did do it for like 3 4 days,
You did that for three
and
or
just
four
the result.
days?
Yeah, so most of
Damn.
that spend was just me blowing it out and just being stupid with it.
How many people do you have to follow up with? Roughly,
That's
roughly.
yeah, I would say 7 10 maybe.
Seven
And
or
then out
so.
of that
Okay.
that are really solid, that I'm pretty confident about, maybe like four.
Well, total
Yeah,
follow-ups is
just
what
for
I'm looking at because you're going to have some you're solid on and some that aren't, and you're going to be surprised who closes and who doesn't. Total follow-ups
mhm.
is the number I'm looking for. So what I'm hearing is based on how you handle the follow-up calls and using the momentum you currently have, as long as you don't go back to those 8-hour sessions, it sounds like you're going to be able to, over the next, just as is, without doing any more dialing, just on follow-ups alone, you should be able to pull in at least three more clients as is, which would give you right under or right at half a client a day average for the month, and the month is half over. Uh,
Right.
that's that means you're going to maintain that client a day average if you keep doing what you're doing or better. By the way, client a day average on even on the days that you aren't working, right? If you only counted Monday through Friday, for example, it's much more than a client a day average, right? Um, or on the days only the days that you dialed, it's even better. Just depends on how you decide to track it. But if you just track it based on 30 days in a month, right, and then how many clients you pull in, client to day average, that's what you're after. At least initially, it's not a bad way to go. Um,
Yeah, and with the but so yesterday I closed two clients yesterday, dialed for like the 2 hours, and there I
right,
spent I think like $16, $18, somewhere in that ballpark on the
right,
dialer, and that was two closes, and then the two follow up. But yeah, two people with less than $20 being spent, um, and that
and
you've mentioned that's where you should be, and that's
right.
where I am when I
Five
do
to
it
ten
right.
dollars client acquisition. Exactly. That's exactly what I told you on the money. I seem to remember telling you
Yeah,
not to go and do, and not you specifically, but I remember telling everybody, don't feel like you got to go and do more than 4 hours a day, and definitely not every day. You burn yourself out very, very quick, and not only that, but your
yeah,
results are going to take
true.
a hit. So, um, I,
Yeah.
sometimes you still have to see what I'm saying about the pattern and the habits that we have of like you're you hear me say that and you still went and did it. I'm not going to beat you up for it, by the way, because you learned your lesson, but did you learn the root of it? That's again, I'm always going to ask you the same question, Art. I'm always going to come, and it's not just for you, it's for everybody. I'm always going to come back to the root of what caused that because it's the same. The root of that is the same thing that caused why your campaigns weren't doing as well to start, and um, uh, any other problems that you've ever had, right, or struggled with this model. Not because you're not good at what you do. Obviously, you are, right? When you apply what I'm teaching, you're super stud, and I say ride that. I say I
Hmm.
say run that into the ground. Run it till the wheels fall off, and then, you know, hell, dude, if you were the most unoriginal bastard for the next 12 months and then you and I made a commit. I'll tell you what, I'll make a commitment to you, Art. I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. You specifically, and this is for you. Um, if you become the most unoriginal I have ever met, and I don't mean not sharing with other people or anything like that. You share Mighty Call, share all the strong resources you've got. That's a super strength of yours for sure. Share with the community. They love that. I love that, and we all appreciate it. When it comes to the processes and systems and things that I teach you on, if you'll commit to becoming the most unoriginal, right? The most copycat you can be on what you hear and learn from me, right? And see. Uh, 12 months from now, so January, let's call it, we'll round up January 2022. Uh, I will set aside at least a week where it's just you and me. and we will do some of the most crazy creative shit you can think of, and then we'll take after that week, we'll go and apply it for the rest of the month and see what happens, and we'll find all kinds of cool new shit and new experiences to share. You'll be able to share, I'll be able to share, and give back to the community. And I will make that commitment to you specifically if you'll just commit to being the most copycat unoriginal you can be right now based on what because I'll tell you, when January 2022 comes around and we do that, uh, your business is going to be in a state where uh, you know you'll either charter a flight for me out there or I'll fly out there, right? One of the two.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's where we're going to be, and we'll be up in the penthouse or whatever in Manila, and looking out over the bay, like you said. That sounds good to me. I'm all for it. But that's what'll get us there. Is my point. That's what'll get us there. And I would love nothing more than to do something like that with you and many others as well. Like let's do that. You make that commitment. I'll make that commitment right here, right now, publicly. It's on live stream, for Christ's sake. Everybody's hearing me say this. It's recorded on top of it. It's not going anywhere. Uh, I'll make that commitment. I'll make that commitment. And that'll keep you, because imagine you said 3 or 4 days you did that. Forget about the cost for a second, because that wasn't as important. Because your client value, your client lifetime value is up there. It's like through the roof anyway. It's going to be even better when the season kicks in. Um, and that's all well and good. You spend a little more money, no big deal. But man, 4 days, based on how many clients you've been pulling in a day, how many clients, you see what I'm saying? Like you could have already been over that shit. You might even be close to within striking distance of 20 this week had you had those 4 days to your advantage. Had you just been the most unoriginal bastard ever. You know what I'm saying? So I look at that and I
Hmm.
say bastard affectionately, not, not as a curse towards you or anything. Um, that's what I see. I want you to see that and then see that it's a pattern. It's something that can be fixed. It's not or course corrected. It's not really fixed. It's something that can be acknowledged, course corrected, and totally getting out of your own way, 100%. And when you do that, I'm here, right? And we'll have a good old time coming up with some crazy shit that nobody ever even would think of ever by themselves. And we'll have some fun with it.
Yeah. I'm committed. That sounds great.
Let's do it then. Let's do it. All right. So everybody's got us on the tape here. I say on the tape. Uh, everybody's got us on record. You commit to it. Now, I'll tell you, the commitment relies on you for the next 12 months. That's not an easy commitment. I know you're excited about it, but I'll tell you, there's going to be times where if there's a few day gap or something's going on, I'm going to know that something's not right. I already told you the last time you did that few day gap, I was wondering what was going on. Something. I knew it wasn't nothing. It's not like you just stopped working. I know that. And
Right.
come to find out today, that's what it was. Again, not beating you up. I'm just pointing out that the alignment is super important. And as long as you and I, if you commit to that for 12 months, you're going to be in a place where we're going to have some fun for one thing in January, but not this January, next January. But the business you're going to have by then, you're already going to be having a blast. So I'll commit to that 100%. 100%. You got to make sure that you're in alignment. You do that, and January 2022 is going to be a hell of a year or a hell of a month for us, actually. Just on that alone, right?
Yeah.
I'm ready to
Wh-
make that. I'm ready to make that deal once a month with everybody that's willing to do something like what I just, reach the level you're at and beyond, right? So anyway,
With the commitment that you're talking about as well,
yeah,
I guess because so a couple of years, like you mentioned, I've been with you for a couple of years, following you, and
yeah,
not doing much, but now recently I am. And I would say that this for me the spark was because um because I just had to, like I'm like, okay, I'm turning 34, like where am I going in life? Like it just so I just
I've
had a
had that
real
feeling.
self-assessment. And
Yeah,
that's what it was. It's like, you know what, like if I don't change anything, like, and like I'm not trying radical, but I just need to do something, or where I'll be 1 year will be the same. Like, okay, 4 years, 5 years. Like like the whole, hey, time flies. Like 10
It
years ago, what
does.
were my goals? Is that where I'm at now? No,
Ouch.
that's not where I'm at. It's like, dude, I need to like, yeah. So that's what clicked. And I'm like, you know what? Like I either shit or get off the pot really. And it's like, do I want these are my goals. These are my desires. I need to chase them now. They're not just going to happen organically. And you don't have to go crazy, but it's like just commit to yourself that, you know what, do I truly want this, or is this just a cool idea that, yeah, that'd be nice, that'd be cool. Like, is this just like, in a sense, am I just watching, like, is this porn, or am I really trying to do it?
Right.
Like entrepreneur porn type deal. Like, is
Yeah.
this just motivational? Like, oh, pumped up, yeah, cool. And then the week comes along, or no, I'm ready for a change. I really am. Like,
Well, I
and
can tell because again, you may be struggling from time to time with the alignment, but you course correct, you engage, you acknowledge it, you work on it, and that's all it takes. That kind of commitment, and you're going to reach a place where you're not going to ever have to worry about whether you're doing what you need to be doing or what's right for your business based on your own experience and also the guidance you've gotten along the way. Like there's no doubt in my mind. And you're right, there does take a level of commitment prior to that where it's like, and I've been there, brother, by the way. I feel your pain and also your joy of the what the fuck am I doing with my life? Why am I not where I want to be? It's because I'm exactly where I was supposed to be. Actually, a mentor always said that. He makes a post all the time. Kevin Nations, actually, he writes. You'll see it from time to time if you follow him on Facebook, which I do. He he's got a post, and I'm paraphrasing. It's something along the lines: "Congratulations, wherever you're at in life, whatever is going on right now in your life, financially, emotionally, personally, uh, you've earned it." And he doesn't mean that as a dig. But the people that take it negatively obviously are not happy with where they're at, right? Or what's going on in their life, but they've earned it. The decisions they made led them down that path to the result that they, so if you're out of shape or if it's your business isn't as doing as well, uh, wherever you're at, you've earned it. That's why I'm very intentional and very specific about who I give credit to, where I give the credit to. You notice I don't. Are there times where I'll use things for promotion? Absolutely. Like some of those screenshots, I'll use them for promotion. Absolutely. To show people what's possible with this model. But am I going to take credit for that other than being the guy who mentored you? No, that's yours. That's all art. That's all Art Tatman. Art Tatman's highlights, greatest hits, Art Tatman. That's you, dude, not me. And the same for anybody else, obviously, along the way and from the past. Um, I only take the credit that's due, right? That's also why I love to brag about you guys, not just to each other, to the rest of you, but to other people that don't even know you yet. I love bragging about you and your results because it's a way of abundant thinking that I don't need the spotlight. I don't actually like the spotlight. I very much am an introvert. And I want to, but I know that my message is important and it needs to be shared with the people that need it in order to do well in the business. And so it needs it needs heroes, it needs studs and studettes like you guys. And That's why I do what I do on the sharing stuff. Now, lately I have been on this kick of realization that I'm a kingmaker. I have I told you about this yet, Art?
no,
No?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
so well, if you think about it, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I'm pretty sure that's going to be in some of my future branding. Maybe not necessarily with ring ads, but definitely with marketing strategy, 100%. Because there's so many different times um, that I was able to not just do well for myself, but help others do well and make them a king or a queen, depending on he or she, in their own right, right? Make them royalty in their own right. And I love that because it implies that as a kingmaker, that I'm behind the scenes. You don't, in history, you hear about every once in a while you'll hear about the Pope or the Cardinal or this or that, but you never really on coronations, right? But you never really hear as much about them as you do, even when they do some crazy cool stuff, as much as you do about royalty, about the king and the queen, right? You always hear about them. They always make the history books, the kings and the queens, right? And I love that idea of being the one at the coronation. Like, so are as you step into your royalty here as a king, because you very much are a king right now, you got a double digit business. Where you go from here with your kingdom, right? um, and how you treat your kingdom is going to be based on what kind of a king you are, what kind of a person you are, right? And the heart you have, where your head's at, man, you're going to have one hell of a kingdom. It's going to be great. And the idea is this: I originally got it from, man, I've got students that are so successful, even beyond uh, what I'm about to describe. But I've got students that are so successful that they are selected by disgruntled former partners to be a mentor. They've done so well from what I've taught them that they become a mentor. And it's like they may not necessarily be teaching the best stuff in terms of not quality, but just things that I just would not advise. But nonetheless, they were picked because of their ability to deliver on what I teach. And I'm like, man, I really am a kingmaker. And then I look at the fact that there's many students that have gone uh, uh, financially above and beyond what the person I'm talking about and thinking about in that example. Um, how am I not a kingmaker then, right? And there's nothing arrogant about that at all because I'm the dude behind the scenes. You guys are the royalty. You guys are the royalty, not me. I'm just some fucking bishop or cardinal or whatever, pope maybe. But at the end of the day, what authority do I really have, right? Not that much. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not saying the Pope doesn't have any authority, by the way, for you religious folks out there. I'm just saying not in the kingdom, if you will. Christendom, sure, but that's religious based. It's not like the Pope could just tell us all to start buying guns and all the Catholics are gonna start buying guns. That's not how shit works. So, but very much so, if a king tells his kingdom to arm up, you best believe they're arming up because it's the king's law. So, no, I'm very much behind the scenes. I don't have that kind of power. I don't want that kind of power, really, to be honest. I'm much happier making kings and queens that deserve to be king and queens, like they deserve to be royalty. So, like Art, to me, in my mind, and with what you've learned and earned, you've earned the right, not by birth, but by your knowledge and experience to be a king in your own right, no doubt. And you really should take that to heart. Like, I'm going to be talking about that more in mentorship as we go along, but very much your royalty, you should be treated as such. And your clients are going to be treating you that way. Your staff's going to be treating you that way. A king can be loved or feared or both. And there's a time and place for both, mostly for love, though, I will say. And I think you've got that. And I think your people see that. I think everybody else in this group sees that and acknowledges that in you. I know I do. Um, but man, if you're the king, then I'm the king maker, 100%. So there's nothing arrogant about it.
That's true.
I'm bragging about you. If anything, you're the king. I just make the kings and the queens. And so if you want to be the next king or the next queen, I guess you're in the right place. And
One question for you then.
shoot,
Um,
how many
because
kings and
because
queens
you
am I going to make? I don't know.
um, well, because like because you did mention this as well, I think in the mentorship call, but it's like I don't know, it just got me thinking because like you've been doing this for a few years, you've taught many people. Honestly, today I expected you to, when I jump on the call, at one end you'd be like, "Oh, congratulations with your success,"
Right?
but I honestly kind of felt that you would not grill me per se, but just more of a, "Don't lose the momentum." Many people have got where you are, and then just one reason or another fizzle out. And
Yeah.
when you mentioned that previously, like I don't like while it's I'm happy you're teaching this and everything
Right.
and it like works and I'm committed to it, but it's like man, like you've been teaching this for years and yeah, there's been success, but there's been many people that have just one reason or another
Do you know
had it
why?
and then just man.
Do you know
But
why?
how does that not get you down? Like I don't know,
It
like to me
does.
I
It
would
does. It
personally
really does. No, it does. It
Okay.
does. Now, if as a pope, and again going back to the pope thing, as in a coronation and a pope anoints a king with his power and all that, and it's usually back then in those days the pope would do that for all the royalty, not just one nation, but every nation under Christendom, right? So not just one, but several nations that way. Did Pope have high hopes for every king and or queen? Yes. Was
Of
he
course,
let
yeah.
down? Absolutely he was. In a lot of cases there was some just crazy, like why would these people, and because it was royalty and it was not earned, it was earned through birthright, not through experience and knowledge, which is why I say your royalty, your appointment as king is much to your kingdom is much more deserved and rightful, right? Um, and yeah, sometimes it does get me down, brother. It does, and you've heard it. You've heard me talk about this, especially in the mentorship, where I'm like, man, I don't even know on these daily streams. I don't even know if these are good idea or not. But we're gonna fucking do it because I committed to it. Let's see where this takes us, and then I'll evaluate at the end of the month and make decisions for the next December dash, or maybe we'll do a contest in the spring. I just and awards and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it'll be ongoing. The whole point is. To answer your question, yes, it is frustrating at times. And I'll tell you the number one reason why people who get to where you're at and even further uh, fail, right? It's because uh, they weren't either aware uh, or did not refuse to acknowledge the fact that they are now king or queen and that they actually have a kingdom to run and manage. Because it's not, you can't just sit on a throne and love me, right? You've got to take care of your people. You're going to have to form diplomatic relations because back then we didn't have shit like the UN, right? King to king, right? Messengers come in, deliver the message. You get the idea. The point is, there's diplomatic relations. There's people are starving. How do we feed them? There's military. There's strategy. There's industry and growth. There's all these things that come now under your rule as king. And what kind of a king are you going to be? Are you going to be fair? Are you going to be wise? Do you defer to uh, people in your kingdom to their judgment for their areas of expertise, right? Um, Now you're the king. I would be, if anything, like a trusted and loyal friend and advisor to the court of economics or of industry and the business, right? How you choose to run your staff and whether it's a Gestapo for you and it's just totally military and everybody hates your guts, but they do what you expect them to do, or if there's that loving, you get what I'm saying. There's that whole trade-off. Um, I feel like are most people refuse to acknowledge even that they're at that level, even at 10 clients, because again, you now have a business where your kingdom may just be you and one other, or you and your family. But I guarantee you, the staff comes very, very quickly. People start coming into your kingdom very, very quickly. And are they welcomed in? Are they treated great or poorly from the start? It all depends on the king, right, or the queen. And all that said, to come full circle back to most people fail because they refuse to acknowledge it because it's self-sabotage, right? They refuse to course correct some of the habits that will bring them under based on their advisors, because every good king and queen has good advisors, better advisors, if you will. Some of the greatest like the Medici family had Da Vinci, and who else did they have? They had oh God, what's his name? Machiavelli. Machiavelli. They had him, um, and they weren't even royalty. Think about that for a second, and look at what they rose to. Right? I'm just saying these are things that, like, when I look at that, and I'm not saying that's a perfect example of history, but that's the kind of of kingdom you want to build, right? And in terms of how you run it, they ran it like crazy fucks, by the way. But you can choose to run it with love and pull in the right people and the smart people and the people that are loyal and you treat well and all that. And that in turn makes it so that the king never stops being the king. And in a lot of cases where people quit, 50 clients in, 20 clients in, they found another mentor. They didn't like their advisors. They just fired them. That's their right as king, right? Like I've had people just completely stop working with me. Not that they were doing horrible or anything, but they stopped learning from me and started taking advisement from someone else. And their kingdom or their business, their industry and their kingdom went south or didn't do near as well or stagnated, which is the same thing as eventually going south. Um, that's their decision as king and or as queen. Does it break my heart? Yeah, but at the same time, it's not my kingdom; it's theirs. That's also why I say again, I'm the kingmaker, and it makes sense that yes, I have high hopes for you. I have high hopes for everybody. At the end of the day, though, you are king. I cannot make a king do what a king decides to do is what he does. I can't make him do something. He decides. Now, you've got good advisement, and you're also starting to see as king where you have the room to make those decisions, and not just room, but like the advisor doesn't come in and grill, right, the king. Sometimes, right? Especially if it's a young king or something. Yeah, that might happen. But at a certain time, a certain point, the king's going to be wise enough on his own that he's probably already made the best decision anyway, or knows the error of his ways and doesn't even need the advisor to say anything. So when you say, "Hey, yeah, man, I half expected you to grill me," I didn't grill you. I did say, "Oh, see the misalignment, right?" And then you're like, "Yep," and I'm like, "And now, forget about that. What's the root that keeps making you come back to these things, right, or have these issues?" And that's the advisor talking to the king in a manner that's respectful, yet at the same time says, "Hey, your kingdom's got problems. We can fix it, right? But this is where we're at." And at the end of the day, I mean, there nothing else really needs to be said, man. It's not like you now. There are times where a king or a queen hasn't really earned their crown yet, right? And by crown, I don't mean 10 clients. That might be what I end up saying or coming up with. But the idea is this: they're still in prospecting mode. They haven't quite got a client yet, and they're not really come into ownership of the business. So they're not really the king or queen yet, right? But they're next in line for the throne or whatever. They're being groomed, right, by the advisors, of course. And so as an advisor, it may come down to, "Hey, look, you're fucking up. This is where you're fucking up. I'm going to be much more direct because one day you're going to be king," right? How many times have you heard that in a storyline? Or one day you're going to be queen, and how you rule means everything. In other words, who you are as a person is going to be everything. How you handle things is going to be everything. So that's why I say that the kingmaker analogy really does stick and works well because it's not about me. It's about you guys and how you and the choices you make. You know, one of these days, Art, very, very soon, if not already, I've even seen some people that don't have necessarily envy, but definitely are looking at your kingdom and saying, "Fuck, man, I want one like that," right? I want to be king like that someday. And I'll tell you, in this model, it's possible. It's possible. It really is. Um, Now, this month. So, yeah, it's a good question. I don't get asked that often um, about don't you get down, don't you feel down? And there are days, yeah, where it's just a total gut punch, you know. And I hate the idea of seeing somebody that I know could be, at 7, 8 figures, totally go in the opposite direction or get brainwashed or pull whatever, right? Just totally 180 for no declared reason. Um, and then do things like lie, in public in interviews, stuff like that. But at the same time, uh, they're king. There's nothing I can do about that as an advisor or as a pope. Not my responsibility, not my kingdom at the end of the day. It's their job. And the same responsibility extends to you, Art, 100%. So good on you for rising to the occasion. And now it's your job as king to build the kingdom and continue building it, and not just building it, but you know, building the culture of the kingdom. How people, uh, when people, I hired to train staff many times over, and most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, people enjoy coming to work. That's the kind of kingdom you want, I would think. Um,
Mhm.
Shoot for that, that kind of stuff. Anyway, good question.
How is it that how how is it that because I guess
I'm
and I'm
listening.
really grateful for that you've like I feel this is part of your why, and I know it's like this is in your heart, this is what you want to do, like even though people might disappoint you, like most other even me too, like I feel if I was in your shoes, it come to a certain point where I'd be like, you know what, fuck this, I'm taking my ball, I'm going home, because you teach everything you teach. It's like you know what? I'm just not going to share anymore. I'm going to just follow what I'm doing.
Right.
There, you could do millions of dollars. You'd have the biggest thing, like all these different verticals like that. You could do that, but you're not. You're continuing to, like, no, I want to have others do this. Like, and that's I can feel it's truly in your heart, and
Well,
like
I'll
that's
tell you,
your
I'll tell
your
you,
why. I don't know.
there's, well, again, there's things you don't know about me and my agency, right? And I'm not talking about the one that I'm building from scratch. Here's the thing. I'll tell you this, and this is something I wasn't going to say to anybody yet, but it's not part of my vision or anything. Um,
Mhm.
the the agency that I'm building for Prime, right? That I haven't done in months, right? I'm going to be doing sessions for that. My goal is to get to that next week and the week after, so that I do a good push, show you what can be done the last half of the month, and not just re-engage the Prime, right? Membership and all that, and the updates that I still have pending for that. But because all those are good things, but I want to show people, okay, you can take months off, come back, yeah, re-engage, and get to a level very, very quickly where uh, you have a business that is worth 6, 7 figures, and then I'm just going to give it away. I'm going to give the agency away. Um, Not just to anybody, mind you. We're going to run some kind of a contest. I don't ask me details. I don't know. I haven't formulated that yet in my mind. That's a detail. I just know the vision part of giving that away. It's not my vision, but it's the vision of what I'm going to do with the agency. I'm going to give it away. I'm going to build it up to 7 figures, which is what. It's so funny because, like, you look at you say, man, you could be making millions and millions of dollars. Art, like, if I teach this as well as I do and have been down the road, what do you think I do? I may not own a private jet or anything, but I ain't hurting. You know what I'm saying? I do this again. I told you the two reasons I do this. I do this to keep myself sharp and my agency sharp on what I'm teaching. I learn new things. Like, for example, Mighty Call is going to help a lot for all my staff on the agency side. It's going to make a lot of sense for them to at least explore and switch over to something like that, because right now they love Skype and I can't stand it. I hate Skype. So, and I haven't even looked at Mighty Call yet, but the point is, I've seen your recommendation of it. I saw that it worked for somebody else. That's a contribution from the community that I would not have gotten on my own. Could I have eventually found Mighty Call? Yes, probably, at least. Would I have found it right away? No. Community, right? So that's number one. Number two, it keeps me sharp, or maybe that was number one, and then the community and contributions and giving back, the get creative later part, that comes into play. Um, when when I'm able to, and the reason why I'm doing the Prime giveaway, the not the Prime giveaway, the agency that I'm building in Prime, I'm going to give that away. The reason I'm doing that and running a contest for that is because I'm going to build it to 7 figures, either a year or a month. I haven't decided. I'm still kind of toying with that. Again, details. The point is, I'm going to build an agency that most other people in our industry teach you to build, or say that you can build, right? And I'm going to be the guy that not only just builds one and you can watch over the shoulder, but just gives it away like it's a pair of shoes or something, you know, or a bottle of water or a headset or whatever. It means, I won't say means nothing to me, but it's something that anybody can do. Here you go. Kind of like a balloon animal, you know. A clown makes a balloon animal at a birthday party and it's like, make a dog. And he makes a dog and he goes, here. It doesn't make the dog and say, look at it, pass it around, and okay, I'm going to take that home now. No, he makes dog shapes out of the balloons all the time. It's nothing to him, right? And not nothing, but it's not that big of a deal to him to be able to be that kind of generous, that level of generous. So that's where my head's at. That is where my head's at. That's where my heart's at. Yes. Um, but I run other companies, Art. This ain't the only this ain't my only bag. Um, there's no there's a lot of resources personally for me, yes, into this particular because it's where I got my start in terms of starting back over in business because we all fail from time to time, right? Um, it's very near and dear to my heart, and I know the results that people can have with it and what they can actually do with it because I've been there, done that. That's why I say that all the time. But it's also why I don't want to focus on me for that. I want to focus on you guys, your results. You guys are the kings and queens. I'm just the dude who makes you on the king and queen part. That's it. That's it. You know, um, to everybody else who's none the wiser, you've got that guy. I'm that guy that helped you out, taught you this, taught you that. All I ask is this: like, if ever somebody says who crowned you king, you just be sure to point, my way. That's all. Because for some reason, people that have built, massive agencies and parted company with me just can't seem to bring themselves to acknowledge the fact that they were crowned by me. Um, maybe they hate me. I don't know. None of my business.
Yeah.
Love me, yeah. Love me or hate me, man. It's your job as king or to become king, not you necessarily, Art, but everybody else, king, queen, um, and to decide what kind of kingdom you're going to run and how you're going to grow it and all that. So, but that's the gist of the answer um, for why I do what I do, where my head's at, my heart's at.
Very nice. So I'm at 5%, so I'll stop talking and let you finish the
Okay,
rest of it.
okay,
But I do want to hear
yeah.
the rest of the call.
God bless battery packs and good call,
Hmm.
Art. Appreciate you coming on and sharing very much and asking good questions. Not that your questions were bad at all; they were very good. Just go be a good king. Go get you a crown. You'll be hearing more about king making. But I'm very serious about that, and I'm very happy um, to be able to have that kind of power, right? To crown you guys like that. That's fucking. That is it, man. I could be Jeff Bezos level, and I swear to you, with how I feel about what you guys do, even though there's some heartbreaks, there are, man, the wins are just really good, right? But I need you to acknowledge to yourself that you are the king, and ultimately, kings rule, right? It's a king's rule, it's a queen's rule. So that means it's up to you, not me. I can help, I can advise. After that, it's up to you at the end of the day. So um, you've made very great decisions. You've made some not so great ones, Art, but you've course corrected and come back even stronger and better for it. Now it's just about maintaining that, and next thing you know, right, blink of an eye, you're going to have a kingdom that you're going to be like, damn, I rule over all this. Awesome. And what kind of a king are you going to be? Are you going to be benevolent and generous, kind and loving, understanding, and authority, but out of love? Are you going to be uh, Hitler-esque, right, and run things like a Gestapo or the Third Reich, uh, and piss everybody off and all that? Totally up to you, man. Totally up to you. Um, Not that there are people out there like that. I'm sure maybe there are, but I'm not referring to anybody specifically with that. But yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to answer some questions here in the comments, and then we're going to bounce out of here because it's been going 3 hours. I didn't want to keep everybody this long. I apologize. You get me on a roll, and this is what happens. Look at what you guys did. All right. Um, New year, new start. That's exactly right, John. That's what we were talking about earlier, Art and I. Andy says Art has smashed the dash. I love that. That's pretty funny. I love that. Julian says, this is Julian Alexander. Good to hear from him. It says, William, if a client gets a call and they're busy on another call so they do not answer it, does the caller get the option to leave a voice message requesting a callback? I'm aware that our client could, depending on our RingAd software setting, get an email and SMS notification of the missed call. They do not get, if it's busy or doesn't get answered, it's marked as busy or not answered. They get a notification if you send it to them, but they do not get any kind of a voice message or an option for that. Not yet. Not yet, Julian. That would be what I would say. Development, right? It's in development. Julian Alexander asking this. From my research, I've discovered that tiered pricing in my vertical is definitely advised. My concern is that my ClickFunnels checkout link only has one set price. You did mention that I can set up different pricing tiers in the software via setting up several campaigns under one client account linked to different ad campaigns in Google. Yes, you can. The different pricing tiers could be based on ad competition and metro size as well as job. And I don't want to overthink this as I'm still at the starter line. However, I do not want to leave money on the table or turn away smaller accounts. So please outline when a client price negotiation could go when I only have one set price link in ClickFunnels. In ClickFunnels, you can actually set up or create what's called multiple products. You can create a product. So if you go over to the products tab of your ClickFunnels funnel for the checkout page, so it's the second page, not the first page of the three in the template, right? So if you go to that order form, sorry, my lips are dry there. If you go to that order form, you'll find, Julian, a products tab. You click on that. It's like the third over, I think, from the left, third over from the left, and you click on that, and you're actually able to add a second product and a third product. So you can have 3 or 4 tiers, 5 tiers. I would recommend for your vertical, I would recommend 2 tiers, and I would price your calls premium based on metro because that's where you're starting. Worry about the rural stuff later. Okay, so all the metro tows or around a metro area tows are going to be very similarly priced. You're right about not overthinking it. I get where you're at in the reservations. Just don't focus on the rural yet. Okay, that comes later. And in most cases, I might add, those guys will still be willing to pay that kind of price because of the kinds of calls you're going to be able to deliver. 100%. Oh, let's see. Steve says, you're the man, Art. Oh, by the way, I'm attendance, everybody's good for today, okay? I did not see Jerry Clark yesterday comment, so I think he's out of the running for the show up, grow up. Mohammed says, great session, got to go as it's quite late here. Kindly mark me present. Yep, I got you, man. I just said that. I'm marking everybody present. Thanks as ever, William. Congrats, Art, for your best day yet. Yep, love that. And so many good messages. David says, I can't stay on any longer. Oh, man. I'm having an issue with getting ClickFunnels set up. I'll ask the question tomorrow if I can't get it figured out. Oh, man, David, you should come on to the Zoom calls when that happens, and I'll point you in the right direction. Let me know whatever your issue is setting up ClickFunnels, and I will gladly help you out tomorrow. No problem at all. Rob says, hey, William, I got to follow up with a guy who wants to do postpaid. He doesn't want free, but also he doesn't want prepaid because he did it before and he said the calls are bad. We're planning on 2 or 3 postpaid calls, and he said if they're good, he'll do 10 prepaid. Not the greatest scenario, but also not the worst. Remember, square peg, square hole company policy. You're breaking company policy if that is your policy to do prepaid only, and should be, I would say, as your advisor. So totally up to you, but I would keep a very watchful eye on that, and I would certainly work to diversify by pulling in more clients so that you don't have to worry about whether he works out or not, right, for you. How would you, Rob's also asking, how would you structure prepaid $350 per call, by the way. $350 per call, by the way. How would I structure prepaid? I'm not understanding. Oh, excuse me. You said you meant postpaid. So how would I structure postpaid? $350 per call, by the way. I'm not understanding what you mean by structure. You're gonna have to elaborate for me, and I'll wait on the answer for that. Mac, you're still spectating. Do you have any questions or anything that's come up? Anything on your mind? Anything you need guidance with, help with, since you're live on the Zoom call? Figured I might ask. And you're on mute, by the way. You can unmute whenever if you need to. Oh, it says you're asking to unmute. Excuse me. Is that right? Oh, no. That's for me. Sorry. Okay. Rob, gonna need you to clarify for me, and then we can bounce out of here. Man, it's a desert out there. You go 3 hours, man, and you end up with the dry lips. Try to drink more water as I go. Woo! Ric Flair, woo! Oh, here it is. How can I ensure I get paid for the calls after I send them? That's why we don't do postpaid. It's set up in the system so that you can do it. But I mean, the question you're asking is exactly why we do prepaid. Um, how can you ensure that you get paid? Uh, Go to his house with a big ass stick? I don't know, man. Like seriously, and I'm not even trying to be a smart ass. I'm being dead serious. You can't. You can do things that will increase your chances if that's what you're asking about. I mean, sure. Like make sure the expectations are set. Like postpaid, when these calls are marked as good, your ass better deliver the money, right? And if he doesn't after the first one, and go call by call with him until until it's the trust is established, then don't do it at all beyond that first call, right? That'll save you a lot of time and trouble. But yeah, you're gonna have to again keep a. That's what I meant by keeping a watchful eye on that. Like you're gonna have to manage the shit out of that one because of how it's starting out. It's not starting from a place of strength. It's starting from a place of weakness, and there's not much you can do about that except keep an eye on it, manage the shit out of it, uh, and go call by call with him if as long as it's on postpaid. Call by call, get paid right then, right there. Not tomorrow, not fucking next week. I delivered the call. It's postpaid. Pay the fuck up, right? And if you don't, have a nice whatever. Have a nice life. See ya never. You know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna have to be the stance you take. And they need to know that day one before ever starting with you if they're starting that postpaid shit. Again, one of the main reasons why we don't do postpaid um, starting out. And usually, what I'll do if somebody has a problem on postpaid or wants postpaid and doesn't want to do prepaid, for example, or wants free calls, I'll opt to lower the initial price temporarily for one call, two calls, something like that. And it's like once I've delivered, there's no reason for you to be trying to negotiate like that at that because I'm taking a loss, and that's how you should communicate that. I'm taking a loss because I'm trying to do business with you over the next 20, 30 years, and that will eventually make me a profit, yes. So I'm willing to take a little bit of a loss to show you I'm the real deal, but I ain't going to do it on a postpaid. And so usually I'll end up taking a smaller, that's why we start small, deposit for prepaid still, or a lower call count or a lower cost per call for the first two calls. Well, how can you do that? I can't. That's the whole reason why I'm only doing two with you that way so that you can get it out of your head that I'm here to screw you over and get it into your head that I'm here to be doing business with you for the next 20, 30 years that way, this way, and at these prices, not the prices I just mentioned. So uh, that's what I would say on handling postpaid. It's going to be a tricky situation for sure. Not the easiest to start with by any means, and definitely look forward, diversify on client acquisition. Don't focus in on this guy. Manage it, manage the expectations, collect your money immediately, and don't ever do postpaid. That's the number one best thing I can tell you. And again, opt to manage expectations or adjust and adapt on a prepaid level before you ever even consider doing a postpaid, right? That's what you should be doing from now on, and stay away from postpaid. Again, there are people that will teach it. There are people that will make it work, and there's a reason why it's in the platform. For example, you've been doing business with a national company, and they have decided to pay you uh, once a month, right? And they've been your client for over a year. You have that trust. You can switch them to postpaid and bill them on, for example, the month of December, you could bill them on the 5th of January or the 15th of January for what happened in December, if that makes sense. You can do that postpaid kind of setup because you've established that trust or because you have it in writing, which again, just because it's in writing, still big company or not, does not protect your ass, does not cover your ass. That's why I like the transactional model of you give me dollar, I give you gum. Just like that. Just like you give me dollar, I give you the gum pack, right? That's how it should be. Anyway, um, I'm glad you asked, by the way. Notice I'm not beating you up about it, but I am telling you very clearly, please stay away from that. Not a good idea. Giving you all the reasons why. Please don't learn the hard way. Go and get some prepaid clients to help offset and diversify the current situation of ooh, right? The current situation of ooh, and maybe he works out. Maybe he doesn't. At the end of the day, guess what? Doesn't fucking matter. You're in the agency business, paper call agency business, and you've diversified, right? So hopefully that makes sense. It says you say okay makes sense, so that's good, and you're more than welcome as always. Glad you've got progress. By the way, progress is perfection. You're on your way, Rob. I'm happy to see that. Happy as hell to see that. You're. Are you the next king? Are you the next? Are you going to be the next king? I don't know. I think so. It's entirely possible. All right, says first to 10 award. Yes. Where's my applause? Hold on. There we go. Okay, that's for Art. First to 10, yes sir, and first to 5. And Art says regarding the first two X awards, if someone earns it, do they still get the individual award? Do they still get the individual award for the same accomplishment? Yes, yes you do. Um, you'll have the option. I mean, there's a lot of Art. You're racking up in particular a lot of shirts and masks and shit. Not that I won't deliver. It's totally your choice though. If you only want one or two sets or something, if you end up with three or four or five or whatever, or if you want to give them away or whatever, that's totally up to you. As far as like the other stuff, like the cash involved, yeah, you get each one of those, no doubt. Um, so yeah, and you've successfully, by the way, since you're at 1,200 points, you've successfully qualified for the Komodo Award, right? You're in the running for that now officially because you're at 1,200 points. So you need 1,000 minimum for that. So you smashed through that shit yesterday, man. You broke a lot of records yesterday, man, and a lot of personal bests on top of that. That's a hell of a day. Good on you, and you got to re-up. Shit, next year we're gonna reward. We're gonna do some awards for the most re-ups, and then have some fun with that. Actually, I need to write that down. Here we go. Re-up awards. What a great session. God, I love this stuff. Love helping you guys out. Well, I'm going to go back to John says, great call, William. Thank you, sir. Love you guys. I'm going to go back. Let me go back to the webcam here. I'm going to go back to doing what I do. You guys go back to doing what you do. And for the record, that's king making and then being king or queen, right? That's your guys' job. That's my job. And we'll take it from there. We'll meet back in the middle tomorrow, 11 a.m. David, I know you had to tune out. I'd love to hear from you tomorrow on the ClickFunnels stuff. Let me know. Art saying, so you would FedEx to Philippines. I have to look into that. If FedEx is what's going to be the most convenient, Art, for the prizes and awards. I've also considered flying them out. I don't know. We'll see. right? We'll see. But I haven't even been, you notice details. I just know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like how much of it, and it might have some play into that as well. But we'll see, right? It'll get to you. I know that, and the rest is just details. But we'll figure it out. And I may defer to your judgment on some of that because you've probably received packages already over there. Okay, cool. So everybody's good. Jeff Brewer says, "Woo!" Replying to Art. I love it. All right, we're out of here. Go do your thing. Go be a good king. Go be a good queen, or king in the making, queen in the making. I'm gonna go make some more kings and queens, and we'll meet back in the middle again, 11 a.m. David Bennett, ClickFunnels conversation tomorrow. I'm here, 11 a.m. my man, and I'm sure whatever it is, it's quite simple. There's no doubt in my mind. So look forward to getting you through that quickly and successfully, and on to the next piece. So that said, let's bounce out of here. Love you guys. I'll look at the camera while I say that. Appreciate you. Work hard. Keep doing what you're doing. We're halfway through the month, folks. Halfway through the month. Keep busting ass. I'm telling you, your kingdom is there for the taking, 100%. And I'm here to help you do it. So let's get to it, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. All right, bye for now.
Cool. You folk. Back on my shit with a new advantage. I leave it up to you to settle the damage. Diamond, yeah, I know it's foreign to him. I came from the guts of rural Alabama. Steph Curry wrist, watch what they handle. Simple motives, gotta lead by example. Not too many make it out when they doubt. Never been about bailing off of my route. Rain gang, got the city HD. Hate to see my brother die every week. Numb to your vision. My life got me too fucked up. Disrespect to make a nigga go dumb. Pillow talking while you nursing that bitch and turn you to a scrub. I let prices from the plug. Bay Shore, Ocean View, I win Adidas with the boots. Niggas out here slinging arbitrage, so the money really no excuse. Welcome to the